Upper Egypt, boy.
What I'm doing? We gotta go Black Egypt first.
When it was Kemet, Black Egypt, it was a Nile Valley civilization. Black Egypt. It wasn't no Mediterranean culture like us. You gon' get tormented for 4 minutes if it's war when it just said Jeshurun got a false door in it. The Nubian flow, that's before Kemet. My Sakim T got rubies and gold, and it's fit for a Kushite king. But what it look like, the green Sahara ring bearer, bring terror to your satellite kingdom, so they do not bother me. Scarification look like wavy line pottery. Kush with the black top pots, a rap top notch, and I could kick it till your laptop stops. I'm like Tahoe, Shabaka, or Pianki, the author's a father. Any cocky, I came down and out through the lands of Kush, living a pre-dynastic Pharaoh way and Marrow way. Kerma, Khartoum, or Simna by the 5th cataract. Now I put the 5th wheel on the Cadillac. So much ride, a white man couldn't battle that though, they had to paddle back. Black Egypt. Black Egypt. Black Egypt. Gotta look and see where the Nile started. Black Egypt. And how it was easier to go downstream than upstream. And which way the river flow. Don't look at the color, look at the culture. Black Egypt. What you know about Dynasty 00? Roll through with Shimsu, Heru on the standard. Ta-Nehisi, Sudanese G's. Try to test me, I'm an archer from Ta-Nehisi, the squad ready, so I'm stepping in with the extra thin leopard skin. A tail on the apron with my crown on. You can crack jokes, but I ain't the one to clown on. Hey yo, Egypt was black, and that's a fact. All you little suckers need to step on back. They tried to throw us off, but we kept on track and started doing research, but you slept on that. And with Kemet, it don't matter what the name means. If it's a black culture, then that's the same thing. Race science is a lame thing. Ever since Nubian times, I let the chain swing. How the first known in Egypt was Ta-Nehisi, but Ta-Nehisi was Ta-Nehisi already. Yep, it meant the land of the bow, and when Egyptians needed archers, this is where they would go to recruit them. I got arrows and I shoot them. Who them fake pharaohs? I uproot them and use Black Egypt. 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 What's up? Just getting ready. Gonna let the people roll in one time. As we set it up, how y'all doing this morning? Let's get ready to roll. Upper Egypt, boy. Got that white crown. Upper Egypt, boy. Babylonian bars, you can really spit it, get it, dagger on me. That harpoon, it ain't for abalone. Phoenician pieces made of Nubian gold. Antediluvian scrolls hit the Dubian poles. And if you wanna debate that, you'll get truly exposed. I'm like the king of Axum, Axon. Bring the maxims of Patar back to action. I actually swing my axe, so Y-axis 32 degrees west on the Y-axis. Try and catch us. Christianity was stole from Kemet, lying. Compare the book of Psalms to Amenope. Sometimes I'm rhyming, I'm just like a shaman, okay?
Some sound alright, but then they act silly. Try conquering my crown, and that's really very silly. Try conquering my crown, and that's really very silly.
I'm a star charting Bantu boy with my bow and arrow. I raise a king in my gnome if I don't know the pharaoh. Explosive and lethal in your dreams like Joseph the Hebrew. And no sending evil wide jet and neck bent. Here to ward that off, I'm not a sage burner. Scroll learner, the page turner. The script writer, put the pen down cause I don't need it. Cause I got the white crown, the upper I rock Egypt. The white crown, say top Shimbu. You rock the red crown, say top Mehu. You rock the white crown, say top Shimbu. You rock the red crown, say top Mehu. Just don't let the people roll in here. Do me a favor, click like when you walk in the building. Go
gonna help the stream get up so we can get started.
And that's really very silly.
I'm a C group,
Yeah.
Magi Archer from Ta-Nehisi. You conscious community pseudos never try to test me. As I'm in Rock Squad up. Religion, and when I'm on the mic, don't cut my wisdom, boy. I'm W.E.B. Du Bois. I'll smother you under the Sphinx, heed the voice. Ancestrally cooking up mean lyrics. Cats fighting cause they don't think the Dogon has seen Cirrus. And DNA can't prove ethnicity. How you conscious? You say Pacific instead of specifically. You know my so raw,
Then you gotta
get
play some
crushed.
more
Think
slap.
the force of a hippo jaw. I rock the white crown, say Tashimu. You rock the red crown, say Ta-Mehu. You rock the white crown, say Tashimu. You rock the red crown, say Ta-Mehu.
Some sound
See, I ain't writing my raps no more. I'm gonna spit my raps. Then I'm gonna let the AI hear the audio and say, write that rap for me.
And that's really very silly.
It's the
Some
mad
sound
job.
alright, but then they act silly. Like conquering my crown, really very silly. Like conquering my crown, and that's really very silly. My crown, my crown, like conquering my crown, really very silly. My crown, and that's really very silly. Like conquering my crown, and that's really very silly. Like conquering my crown, and that's really very silly.
Really very silly. How y'all? Uh-oh, man. There you go again. That thing just be wanting to play twice. How we doing this morning? So, me, y'all know how I be. I woke up this morning today. The sun's shining in California, at least where I'm at, right in the midst of a lot of storms. And you know how it is after all that rain in the wintertime and then it clear up. It kind of come into your life like, okay, time to get active, time to start getting ready. Everybody start thinking towards the summer. With me, this morning, I just woke up conflicted by, my need to stay focused on economics while I do my thing, while I keep on. So one of my plans is building up this YouTube page, not just for a chat center or not just for a kick it spot. All of those is cool. Not even just for information dissemination. Primarily is to create a new income stream where I can sit in my house and still be not being unproductive or whatever. So I was conflicted because as a entrepreneur, you have to schedule development, technological advances, research, all the stuff that real companies do. You got to schedule that into your life for yourself. Even if you only got a small YouTube business and people don't even know your YouTube channel is a business, if you're not addressing it like that, then you're just missing out on get back. At the end of the year, you could get all the items you need, all the items that require you to have a successful channel before you ever receive a check back. If that is your action in business and you state that and you're doing a DBA or LLC, all them YouTube stuff is write-offs, bro. So we're going to let the people roll in. It look like we got about 28 people in the building right now. Do me a favor. Y'all click the like, because I don't want to be having to play music all day. The quicker we could get the crowd up, the quicker we could do our thing. Let's look at this Mystery School album. Mystery School album we did. Oh, I said we checking crypto every day too. Just to get to the people up to speed before this thing re-blow off. So we, again, it's close. It's tendering at $1 trillion. It ain't at $1 trillion. It's right up under 971 billion. You know what I'm saying? Almost at $1 trillion. We just gonna watch it just to watch, because by the end of this year, this gonna be up to 3 trillion again, whenever it go back. And we're going to be looking like, dang, that was crazy. When we was looking, this price was this. Now this price is this. So, yeah, it's trying to break that trillion crypto. But, again, I'm not trying to set it off until we let some of the people roll in. So, let's pick a cool song off of this school system album we did called The Mystery School. Now, I turned out just like a lot of the artists I looked up to. Shout out to them. Hopefully I'm a better template of that because, you know, you're supposed to build off of anything anybody give you. But I always liked the fact that some of the artists I looked up to wasn't primarily concerned about exploiting their art in that regard. Not to the point to where you just like ain't trying to get no paper. But to me, it's to the point where you like necessarily don't gotta like prostitute your music for commercialism. Dress it all up, put it on the block, make sure everybody try to get that. I'm cool. We was just making slap for people who enjoy the art. And so anyway, I'm going to play a blapper before we get into it. I came into this album, but most of the content, even on this album, is just like hard hip-hop stuff. Nevertheless, there are a few joints on here. I'm just going to play a banger. It's some bangers. So make sure if y'all just looking for some hip-hop inquiry too, y'all check out my Bandcamp catalog. I'll be putting free albums up sometimes. I had a $100 album. So it's funny because people talk, but it's like my $100 album will do better than the free album. People want ways to support you when they mess with you. And I mean, we're going to talk about the reparations. Don't get it twisted, but I got a few hours on my hands, so I ain't rushing into it again. So let me just see. I guess I'll play this. What? That's too hard, man. See, some people be coming like not even knowing what the real origins of the heat is. The pipeline. We're gonna play the pipeline. I don't even know. I don't even think I rap on this. I might. It say Israel LB Select Shark Sinatra.
Respect before you put your child in special education because it can be a high road to incarceration. By the way, there's no longer anything called a board of education in the Americas. You only have boards of incarceration.
They say I'm militant because I speak truth. Shit rap, niggas transparent and see-through. Me in fact, get it clear, Jack. I don't hear rap too much, earwax, dead bodies with a peer act. Nowadays, ain't nobody authentic. Where the real at, this ain't for little boys, that noise we can and kill that. It's more to rapping and talking about how them guns getting fired off. Niggas is weak, let's have this dialogue. Out to improve, systematically move. You talking fake shit, we talking shelter, clothing, and food. That ain't okay when men rocking skirts on some gay shit, overlooking like it's nothing at all. And y'all don't say shit. Yeah, let's get back to the realer. Through the rhyme, I get mine off the street like drug dealers. Reap the reaper, then that's how the game is. I just assume to play the cuss, fuck, I see how the fame is.
Very important that you understand that. The purpose of school is to prepare children for prison for no other purpose. For no other purpose. And by the way, the government is nothing more than a group of men to carry out the wishes of the corporate gangster bankers. Let's be clear. Okay? That's it. The people in Washington, D.C. do nothing but carry out the orders of the international corporate conglomerate.
Sayer, metaphysical mind taker, imperial, serial mic slayer, divine player, I'm Vader. The force in me makes the pen the lightsaber. Told my girl I'm writing, we'll Skype later. I'm in the coordinates, no fancy ornaments, just performances with my subordinates. From here to Port-au-Prince, degenerate, generating rhetoric. In this generation, I'm the new Oedipus.
That's Lanny Ball.
Member of the Cobra Kai. Sweep your leg while I'm sipping on some mocha chai. I'm in the house and I'm hoping that your sofa's nice. Cause before I came over, I took a soma twice. Calm, calculated word composer who never gets along with nerds and posers. I'm a herb disposer, purchase my quota. Then I'll smoke up all the weed before this verse is over. Light up.
We are all products of the school system. But we managed to escape the pipeline of prison by placing bombs to percussion. That's what it is.
Sinatra.
I'm making beats on the door like I am calling the COI. Jackson spaced out Captain EO. Switch these up, now lyrical CEO. April Fool Matrix, the crowd see Neo. Keanu, Bill and Ted, we on you, shame on you. This mess we in, I blame on you. I find point guard, the game on you. Can carry money, but you can't carry fame on you. It's just us first the system. Ali Sunny listing. I'm pissing on shitty situations. Come on, stick your head in the toilet bowl. Flush the hate out your cranium, the devil's cover is blown. What you expect me to do? You poke holes in my parachute and pilot the plane that you taught me to jump out of in school. It's your fault you gave me tools to break down the shit. Don't get me going when I'm off my meds. Yeah.
15, state of Pennsylvania. It's going to be 10 tests.
I just grabbed some rappers from the Bay, you
Your
feel
child
me?
cannot fail more than 2. You must pass 6.
Grab some rappers from the Bay and make a group, try to help put cats on. That's how you do it. You know what I mean? Once you get to a level in the game, you gotta help put those on.
There's already 25 states who have this test. And guess what? States that have the mandatory graduation exams that have some of the highest incarceration rates in the country. Pennsylvania is building 4 new maximum security prisons right now. Do you want to know why? Because they know your kids ain't going to pass that test. How do they know your kids ain't going to pass that test? Because you don't socialize them to pass that test. I mean, let's think about it.
All right, let's talk about it. Shout out to anybody in the building. Now, you know we all could do better sources. We just on the history.com. And we just pulling it out. The thorny history of reparations in the United States. Now, just to be blunt and just to be frank, Killer Tay? I don't think I got a song with Killer Tay. I might got one song with Juice. But I don't think I got a song with Killer Tay. But shout out Killer Tay. Now, really, what we need to really do the research on is hating on reparations. We really need to look at all of the organizations and all of the responses to the other payouts that other people have received in history for the atrocities done towards their people. That's a real thing. It ain't like, I mean, I'm impervious, whatever Tyson word was. I'm impervious to that. I grew up in the hood and I know all of those pseudo claims, them unjustified rhetoric of the naysayers who don't want nothing to pop. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know how that sound already. Soon as they start spitting it. And so it ain't even in the best way you could try to pose it like you a money getter. What are you talking about? Like, why you waiting on that? You need to be doing what? Life ain't set up for nobody to be sitting around waiting on reparations. Like, that whole concept is stupid. Why you waiting on that? So, I guarantee you, while the civil rights movement was happening, the same contingency of our people who formed those type of arguments existed. So what would be the same argument? Why y'all waiting on to be able to go in the white store and to be able, why y'all waiting on freedom? You need to be what? Why y'all waiting on reparations? you could be getting it. Although everybody had to deal with that. But I want to go, it just popped up in my head, an old Marcus Garvey speech from 1920. I mean, well, maybe not 1920, you know, but from a long time ago, yeah. I don't know exact, because I don't want to give no exact date and then have people be like, that wasn't 1920. Let me see. But I do know the speech I want to pull up. Let's see, is this it? 1921 maybe, okay.
Fellow citizens of Africa, I greet you in the name of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League of the World. You may ask, what organization is that? It is for me to inform you that the Universal Negro Improvement Association is an organization that seeks to unite into one solid body the 400 million Negroes of the world, to link up the 15 million Negroes of the United States of America with the 20 million Negroes of the West Indies, the 40 million Negroes of South and Central America with the 280 million Negroes of Africa for the purpose of bettering our industrial, commercial, educational, social, and political conditions.
Now, let's just stop. He just said something very simple. And it sounds so threatening to your European mind. That's how you know if you're a Negropean. He ain't said nothing. He say he want to link up black people all over the world for the economic progress and everything. And right now, you already like, what is this? You categorizing this type of speech to understand it. And it's probably not falling in the category of nothing beneficial to a lot of our training on how we should receive certain messages like this.
With the 280 million Negroes of Africa for the purpose of bettering our industrial, commercial, educational, social, and political conditions. As you are aware, the world in which we live today is divided into separate race groups and distinct nationalities. Each race and each nationality is endeavoring to work out its own destiny to the exclusion of other races and other nationalities. We hear the cry of England for the Englishman, of France for the Frenchman, of Germany for the German, of Ireland for the Irish, of Palestine for the Jew, of Japan for the Japanese, of China for the Chinese. We of the Universal Negro Improvement Association are raising the cry of Africa for the Africans, those at home and those abroad. There are 400 million Africans in the world who have Negro blood coursing through their veins, and we believe that the time has come to unite these 400 million people for the one common purpose of bettering their conditions. The great problem of the Negro for the last 500 years has been that of disunity. No one or no organization ever succeeded in uniting the Negro race. But within the last 4 years, the Universal Negro Improvement Association has worked wonders in bringing together in one fold 4 million organized Negroes who are scattered in all parts of the world, being in the 48 states of the American Union, all the West Indian Islands, and the countries of South and Central America and Africa. These 4 million people are working to convert the rest of the 400 million scattered all over the world. And it is for this purpose that we are asking you to join our ranks and to do the best you can to help us to bring about an emancipated race. If anything praiseworthy is to be done, it must be done through unity. And it is for that reason that the Universal Negro Improvement Association calls upon every Negro in the United States to rally to its standards. We want to unite the Negro race.
So, y'all hear what he was basically saying, what he want to do. And I'm laughing at the comments. He received a lot of hate. He was more about nationalism and self-improvement, and I don't even know if the word reparations came up in any of his rhetoric. Nevertheless, he received a lot of hate now.
In this country, that all Negro lives in another few years. We want the moral and financial support to develop.
I'm skipping, and you could come find this speech because there's another speech I want you to hear. I'm just gonna see something. If I can find the one I'm trying to find. I know it's probably hard, but anyway, I'll get past that and let you hear that later. Basically, he was just speaking on how a lot of the hate he was getting, obviously we know, was coming from his own people. He was talking about how even at his time period or what have you, some of the same stuff we going through now, he was like, oh man, we killing each other and going through, talking about who the biggest haters are.
Did not suffer and die to give me an education to slight, oppress, or discourage my people. Because whatsoever education I acquired out of their sacrifice of over 300 years, I shall use for the salvation of the 400 million black people of the world. And the day when I forsake my people, may God Almighty say there shall be no more life for you.
See, that's why they didn't teach us about Marcus Garvey.
I unequivocally rejected the racist assumption of much white American Christianity, namely that God had created the black man inferior and that he had intended Negroes to be a servant class, hewers of wood and drawers of water. Well, I predicated my view of man on the doctrine of Imago Dei. All men, regardless of color, are created in the image of God. Now, from this premise followed the equality of all men and the brotherhood of all men. The biblical injunction of Acts 17:26 reminds us that he created of one blood all nations of men that dwell on the face of the earth. I was most interested.
Now y'all will get mad. See, he just quoted the Bible.
In brotherhood within his own race. Because if Negroes are created in God's image and Negroes are black, then God must in some sense be black.
So he was the black man is God, huh? Well, God was black. He was putting that down. I'm just trying to show you stuff that didn't come up out of nowhere. But particularly, I'm looking for a part where he talking about being outside in your wife beater. He talking about stuff that you would think he talking about us all today. But let's see if we can get there. And I'm not going to go too far off track. We got a lot of good information today.
Must in some sense be black. If the white man has the idea of a white God, let him worship his God as he desires. We have found a new ideal, because whilst our God has no color, and yet it is human to see everything through one's own spectacles, and since the white people have seen their God through their white spectacles, we have only now started to see our God through our own spectacles.
Oh, see? Now this is when that lug was first being dropped. I'm talking about the black God. They started running that through a lot of other organizations after him, but he was speaking truth to people back in the early times.
But we believe in the God of Ethiopia, the everlasting God, God of Father, God of Son, God of Holy Ghost, the one God of all ages. That is the God in whom we believe, but we shall worship him through the spectacles of Ethiopia. For 250 years, we have struggled under the burden and rigors of slavery. We were maimed, we were brutalized, we were ravaged in every way. We are men. We have hopes, we have passions, we have feelings, we have desires just like any other race. The cry is raised all over the world of Canada for the Canadians, of America for the Americans, of England for the English, of France for the French, of Germany for the Germans. Do you think it unreasonable that we, the blacks of the world, should raise the cry of Africa for the Africans?
Shout out to Gina. Yeah, he's a very powerful speaker, and I'm glad I could be letting you hear hear how his words made an impression on people. And so it's all relevant to the discussion because this is kind of like before the Black American argument for reparations. This was the same type of, this is a recourse towards the same type of means or ends, but by different means or what have you. But nevertheless, speaking towards, independence, self-independence, all the way into a complete sense of Black nationalism. And it's only in the sense of when, the descendants of former slaves speak about that it actually becomes a pejorative. Right now, we got countries fighting to keep their independence. Even you could say Ukraine trying to stay independent from Russia, and it's being heralded, you know, ooh, let's help. But in the same situation, and somebody could say that's not the best comparison, but we can go through our history and find so many ones that it should not even matter. But let's go, and I want to get through some of this, and hopefully this is the speech where he starts speaking on how actually brothers was holding themselves back, and a lot of his hate, even towards his movement, coming from the black community. And so, again, when we talk about hate on reparations, we understand, yeah, the biggest hate on that you about to get is from the ones who feel like they want to be exonerated from anything that, you know, their lineage had to do with hindering some other people. But there's also a contingency and plenty different contingencies of black people who act like reparations is something similar to welfare or something. When we just see how quick cats could, the nation could do it when COVID hit, in a matter of days, they just gave the whole world $1.4 trillion, then doubled down with another 1.4 trillion to the whole nation or whatever. So that money's there, and they just be, you know, it is what it is.
The Negro is a man. We represent the new Negro. His back is not yet against the wall. We do not want his back against the wall because that would be a peculiar and desperate position. We do not want him there. It is because of this that we are asking for fair compromise. Where the Belgians have control of the Belgian Congo, which they cannot use, they have not the resources to develop now the intelligence. The French have more territory than they can develop. There are certain parts of Africa in which they cannot live at all. So it is for you to come together and give us a United States of Africa. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are not going to be a race without a country. God never intended it, and we are not going to abuse God's confidence in us as men.
So we don't know, when we talk about hating on reparations, again, this was it in its truest form. Take it, get it yourself. Let's boss up. Let's do all this stuff. And if I'm correct, the FBI was formed. It wasn't an organization before they formed it to bring down Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Now, again, we got a lot of knowledgeable people in the chat that can definitely pinpoint that more accurately. But most people could tell you that was the beginning of the FBI, and this is when they start coming up with all these, some of these trumped up charges to bring Garvey down. But
and make a conquest of everything north and south, east and west. So give us credit for being able to use our minds. Merely born abuse, insult, humiliation, whose forbearance can only be compared to the prophet Job.
He was getting
yes,
it
you
in.
heard of Johnny Walker Red?
I want to find this one part.
And black. Well, he had his adversities, but he's still going strong.
So if you want to get more, is this Marcus Mosiah Garvey speaks, is this speech. I'm looking for one
Any
part.
leadership. Can we do it? We can do it. When you endeavor to carry your burden up the heights of Calvary and elevate the positions of fame and honor black men and women who have made a distinct contribution to our racial history. Sojourner Truth is worthy of a place of sainthood alongside the Joan of Arc. Crispus Attucks and George William Gordon are entitled to the halo of martyrdom with no less glory than the martyrs of any other race.
Thank you.
Toussaint Louverture's brilliancy as a soldier or a statesman outshone that of any other people. Hence he's entitled to the highest place as a hero among men.
Well, he's very inspiring to listen to, and anybody who's getting juiced off that list, I recommend you finish listening. But let's look at some of the thorny history of reparations in the United States. It says in the 20th century, the country issued reparations for Japanese American intermittent native land seizure, massacres, and police brutality. All right, will slavery be next? Again, this is in the Library of Congress, this document, and it's on thehistory.com. It says the papers were handed out one by one to the elderly recipients, most frail, some in wheelchairs. To some, it may have looked as a run-of-the-mill governmental ceremony with the usual federal fanfare. How about I make this bigger so everyone can see it? All right, let me see. With the usual federal fanfare. But Norman Mineta, a California congressman and future Secretary of Transportation in the 1990 event, was deeply symbolic. So to Norman, it was symbolic. The papers were checks for $20,000, accompanied by letters of apology for the internment for over 120,000 Japanese Americans during World War II. So I guess the internment was keeping them hostage. Internment, a state of being confined as a prisoner.
Internment.
All right. So you want to be an intern? I'm just playing. It says, apology for the internment for over 120,000 Japanese Americans during World War II. So this is in 1990. 120,000 Japanese Americans, or at least the letter of apology for the internment of 120,000 Japanese Americans during World War II. $20,000 checks, it looks like, to over 80,000 people. It says, they were the first issued under the Civil Liberties Act of 1988, a historic law that offered monetary redress to over 80,000 people. So, and I don't even really remember this when it was going down. I probably heard a little bit about it. I was younger. But I definitely don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was pushed back towards it, let's be clear. But I don't recall seeing it. That's all I can say. I know it was there. I wonder if it was Japanese people, though, pushing back against the Japanese getting reparations. I wonder if it was Japanese people sitting around saying, oh, why y'all waiting on that? Y'all could be doing this. Or reparations is like welfare, whatever. Anyway, Mineta has spearheaded the law, fighting for a governmental apology and financial redress for nearly a decade. As he watched, he flashed back to his own internment during World War II, first at a racetrack, then at Hart Mountain War Relocation Center in Wyoming. His family had been forced to leave their home and business behind. And that's sad and harsh. But if you want to, I ain't even going to go there. Let's just keep going. Now, Mineta felt the government had finally began the process of reconciliation. The country made a mistake and admitted it was wrong, he said. It offered an apology and a redress payment. To me, the beauty and strength of this country is that it is able to admit wrong and issue redress. It's always different. It's always different. Like when it comes down to you getting yours, it's just gonna be a whole nother thing. Today, the law is remembered as the most successful push for reparations for a historic wrong in U.S. history. But the United States track record of reparation and official apologies is scattershot. And it has yet to tackle one of the most glaring injustices, the enslavement of African Americans. Many argue that slavery in America has legacies that continue to shape society today. Though demands for apologies and financial restitution are not new, reparations for a state's behavior towards the citizens are relatively modern. The idea of a state apologizing for, much less paying for, its actions towards its own citizens was mostly unthinkable until Nazi Germany orchestrated a large-scale genocide. Among 6 million Jews were murdered during the Holocaust. And for the first time, the world grappled with how to make a nation pay money to atone for historical injustice. There was a sense that Germans had done something very bad and needed to make amends, said historian John Tropey. A professor at the Graduation Center of the City University of New York, and the author of Making Whole What Has Been Smashed on Reparation Politics. That was the price of admission for the return to the community of civilized nations. So the price for admission to the return of the community of civilization was reparations. As he stated it, Germany has since paid hundreds of millions of dollars to Israel. Individual Holocaust survivors and others. So again, when we do the research, we should go in and see that what's the history of people hating on this movement? And was a lot of it internal? Could we find Jewish people saying, nah, the Germans don't need to give no reparations. What you need to do is get up off your butt and go work? Or is that exclusive to subcultures of Black Americans? And even some mainstream cultures? You let me know. Since then, the United States has followed suit, all right? But though it has paid reparations to some groups it wronged through unjust treaties, coups, and brutal experiments, others who still contend with the ramifications of historic injustice continue to wait for compensation. So now you hating on yourself because there's data out there that has been occurring. Look. So look at this. Where is the pretendians right here? I'm talking about they probably pretendian too. I don't know about them dude over to the left look just like the dude to the left. But my question is, why ain't nobody back there with an afro? They breaking bread. So what is this? Breaking bread with Indian tribes, reparations. President Harry S. Truman signs a bill providing the establishment of Indian Claims Commission. Want to make a claim? Make your claim. So you think it was Indian tribes? Now, again, we should do the research and find out the history of hating on reparations. Was it Indian tribes? Like, oh, hell no. What y'all really need to do is a rain dance. You don't need no reparations. Y'all lazy. Y'all ain't balling. None of that matters. Poverty causes us to not understand finance, economics, a lot of other things, and particularly even business. Like, it just happens that way. It ain't none of our fault. It ain't no one's to blame. You know, we grew up broke. Everybody didn't, but I'm just saying. And so growing up with these other thoughts on your mind about finance and stuff tainted a lot of what we see even to this day. From all aspects of it. Because those of us who could find money and finally start getting it developed this tainted view about the others who couldn't find it like them. Like, oh, Y'all ain't getting the world fair. You just need to get up off your butt. But it could be somebody trying harder than you, working harder than you, who didn't get the breaks you got, and you develop this view that it's them and not the world or the systems in the world. So this is breaking bread right here. You ain't got no picture. You got a picture like this with Japanese people for the Holocaust. You got a picture like this with the Indians. So you trying to tell me that the atrocities done towards African Americans all the way up until modern times, like we talking about the 60s. For real though. You ain't got one picture, like no break bread picture. I don't even trip off the reparations. Just give me the break bread picture. I'll just put it up on the wall for the history. Why they smiling so much? Because they know the back cuts and everything that they got worked out into this deal. As a matter of fact, the results of this deal, the government had to keep the money that they gave to the Indians. Y'all believe that? So the money, that's why they smiling, because they got another joke. Go on and do it, Tree. They took this bread and set up trust accounts. Let's read. World War II sparked a movement to address one of the United States' historic wrongs, a treatment of Native Americans over centuries of conquest and colonization. Its treatment, all right. Native Americans enlisted in World War II in disproportionately high numbers. 44,000, or nearly 13% of the entire population of Native Americans at the time, served as code talkers who stumped the enemies with their tribal language, and brave service members who fought in the European and Pacific theaters of war. After World War II, monuments to compensate tribes for the unjust seizure of their lands grew. Momentum. After World War II, momentum to compensate tribes for the unjust seizures of their land grew. Now that's what I be having to do. See, this is how you do. I was talking about the reading hustle on the side. All you do, you don't even edit it while you reading. You just read and let all your mistakes be there while you're recording it, right? And then when you come back, you just cut out your mistake and then slide the wave sample to the left, and it sounds like you just read it flawlessly. So I'm just I'm promoting economics too, that everybody could be doing voiceovers and reading for money as well. It works. But here we go. In 1946, Congress created the Indian Claims Commission, a body designed to hear, or see, like what I just said, a body designed, then I said to hear and took a space. I would go back and edit out that air. I know I'm talking about two things at once, but I'm just, hey, so what? That's how my mind works. A body designed to hear historic grievances and compensate tribes for lost territories. It commissioned extensive historical research and ended up awarding about $1.3 billion to 176 tribes and bands. Now it's funny because you already know how this works. When they went to give out the bread, tribe had to have an official definition, but then you know that some people expanded the definition. Probably the Indian contingency, instead of fighting amongst themselves and saying, we don't need no reparation, they, instead of fighting amongst themselves, they expanded. It appears, and this is just my conjecture, that they expanded who could get the bread. You don't gotta just be a tribe. You could be a tribe and a band. Now, if you wanted to get more information on that, just click into this and see what a ban was. But I'm not here to keep going off on every tangent and every link. We want to stick to the subject. And the point is, this bread been paid out. We all heard about it, but it need to be really put in our face before we look at what's on our hands today and who's leading the modern, California's doing a lot to lead the modern push for reparations. Now look, however, the actual funds, when they say actual, I don't even like when nobody say actually, because that discredit everything else. But anyway, go look up when people use actually, even though I might use it. Grammatically and in debate, people be giving something away when they say actually. But let's see something. However, the actual funds only average out to about $1,000 per person of Native American ancestry. And most of the money was put in trust accounts held by the United States governments, which had been accused of mismanagement over the years. So that's why they were smiling on the picture. Well, make this one work. I'm gonna look serious. I'll try and look serious. Look, and they all know back here, he trying to keep stupid straight face over here. Like, yeah, this is real. They put that money in the trust accounts. It turned out to be $1,000 each. Nevertheless, they went through the action of paying this out. It took decades for a formal apology. Tucked inside of a defense spending bill, the United States apologized for what it characterized as many instances of violences, maltreatment, and neglect inflicted on Native peoples by citizens of the United States. Now listen to that apology. Many instances of violence, maltreatment, neglect inflicted on Native peoples by citizens of the United States. Oh, man. So I don't even got to read Native Hawaiian reparations. I'm just showing you the fixes in all around you. The questions you ask is why all these people get reparations, but black people can't. Why in your head, even in your mind, why is that cool? I'm saying I can see you being against reparations at a whole, but why I think that this cool for the Native Hawaiian reparations, and shout out to them. I'm not saying anything against it. Why do you think it is cool that the nation put reparations out for Indians and that Germany gives out reparations to Jewish people, and that Japan get paid reparations, or Japanese people get paid reparations for their internments? But when it comes to the history of slavery, which is most fundamental to the building of this nation, like, why? I don't get it. How strong is the white supremacy in your goddamn brain, bro? Anybody, whoever listening, is that strong? To where you don't say that is wrong just by the nature of you being a moral individual and unjust and all this stuff. This ain't even one of my topics, but it's so easy to just nail and pinpoint. Native Hawaiian reparations. We could keep going. All right. No, well, I guess we can't. Scroll to continue. Yeah, we can. All right. But I'm not about to finish with the readership. But basically, the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, 1920, established a land trust. Man, we can still get land trust to this day, bruh. We is hating. Do you know all the land that the government own? Last land it was like in 1980, last U.S. land grant. No, that wasn't the last U.S. land grant. When was? I need to ask ChatGPT. Sure. I don't know. I ain't about to use ChatGPT like that. I'm about to get my paper with that. Productivity, increase your productivity. Forget all the little try to be smart. Where was I at? Man, y'all know when the last land grant was. It wasn't no 1890. It was like 1980, unless my brain messed that up. Let's ask ChatGPT. When was the last U.S. land grant? The last U.S. land grant was the Homestead Act of 1862. No, that ain't true. See, ChatGPT. They did one. They did one recently. It was just over some other stuff, and it was pitted a different way. All right, I remember seeing that in my research. So now I'm gonna have to let ChatGPT know it's tripping. I mean, I'll stand with that, but I recall something recent happening with land grants. And the only thing that made me say that was because as we read, we see they had opened up a commission for land grants as, reparations. The Hawaiian Homes Commission Acts for land trust for Native Hawaiians and allowed people of one-half Hawaiian ancestry by blood to lease homesteads from the federal government for 99 years at the time for $1, y'all. Do you know how rich your family could get? So this is 1920, bruh. So that just, oh my gosh. We some noodles. Because look, 1920, that means it just expired in 2019. That lease, come on, dog. And you like, you just need to get up off your butt and raise some money and do what? So had I been Hawaiian and lived in Hawaii, the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act of 1920 established a land trust for Native Hawaiians and allowed people of one-half Hawaiian ancestry by blood to lease homesteads from the federal government for 99 years at the time for a total, what they mean at a time, 99 years at a time. So this is what this means, that if it expired in 2019, then their lease would, some people ain't talking about it, but they just went through the process of renewing their $1 lease on a Hawaiian homestead. Now, some of these properties stay in the family and generated generational wealth. This is the craziness. We can't even, a joke like that ain't even cool. Or you gonna start comparing atrocities. What's up, Boogie the Giant? Thanks for the contribution. He says, Smash, can you please do a show on the authenticity of Serapis Jesus? Well, out the gate, I'll say, I don't know about much authenticity to Serapis Jesus, but we could talk about Serapis and Jesus and the two possibly identifying or whatever, definitely. Thanks for the comment, too. The question. Much of the land was remote and unfit for development, and it put people who married non-Native Hawaiians at risk of losing their land. Interesting. Today, those problems persist. Though the Native Hawaiian population has served, there remains a long waiting list for homestead lands to this day. So if you want to call this a land grant that Chat AI could not, Chat GPT could not identify, but I knew that they was giving out land more recently. And families that inherited homesteads must prove their 50% Hawaiian descent to keep them. The United States only apologized for its treatment of Native Hawaiians in 1993, a century after the overthrow. Now here we go with the Tuskegee experiment reparations. But see how small this is? See how they try to do that? And everybody know about this, and you can read the article. But now we down to 10 million for a few men, for some men, after a lawsuit. And they calling that reparations. The men, how many men was it? 10 million? This shouldn't even be on here. I mean, it's a payment for wrongdoing, but you could get those in the civil court. Like for when you talk about 10 men, we talk about whole populations of people getting checks for the wrongdoing done by the government. Hundreds of men betrayed. Okay? And shout out to them and for getting that put through. Cities and states, rather than federal governments, have led the way in financial compensation for most other cases of brutality. Take Florida, where lawmakers passed a bill that paid $2.1 million in reparation to the survivors of the Rosewood Massacre. A 1923 incident in which the majority black Florida town was destroyed by racist mobs. Okay? So look, this is what's messing it up for them. How you gonna keep paying these? That's like somebody piecing you off your bread, bruh. They owe you a big lump, but they piecing you off. Don't nobody want to be pieced off, dog. And this is also building the argument for the grander atrocities towards black people in whole. Like, I ain't gotta just, what am I supposed to what? Because I got something, I'm supposed to not want that or not speak towards that. And in the sense of thing, in the sense of the world, I have nothing. See, we the only people who still mention simple shit like food, clothing, and shelter. Those words are primitive words. That shouldn't be mentioned in no everyday conversation. How often you gonna hear white people talk about food, clothing, and shelter? They like, what? This is an antiquated ass conversation. Let me get up out of here. Hell y'all talking about? That's some poverty talk. And so this is what I'm saying. We the only ones still focusing on these type of things because it's the reality of the situation. Or Chicago, which created a $5.5 million reparations fund for survivors of police brutality aimed at black men during the 70s and the 80s. People of Japanese descent. Reparations for the internment during, I think, did we already look over this? Well, we already spoke towards it. But again, they're going to have $20,000 to every survivor. Because I don't want to just read the whole article, but the link is there. Will the U.S. ever pay reparations for slavery? Despite the success of the Civil Liberties Acts of 1988. Despite the success of the Civil Liberties Acts of 1988, however, what do they mean? See, I don't like when people can't write. How you gonna say despite the success of the Civil Liberties Act of 1988, however, the United States had yet to tackle reparations for another glaring injustice? That's just a person who ain't that good of a writer. It says the enslavement of Africans from the earliest days of the... Now, I ain't gonna read all of this, bro. We know they didn't tackle this, and I'm tired of reading. I got other articles to read. We know they didn't tackle this. And they start basically bringing out, if we get to what's going on in California now, we're going to pull up a draft by San Francisco. 2 California cities, San Francisco and Riverside. Now, let's not act like they are how some are putting it, leading the leading the way towards the discussion of reparations for African Americans, because that's not what they're addressing. They're addressing modern discriminations against black people, reparations for people from 1940 to 1990 that got set back by all the discriminatory practices that were fruits of slavery. So they saying, okay, we'll do our part as a, this is just a city trying to draft a plan, but this is not speaking towards reparations for slavery, which ultimately some say the nation will be on the hook for. Now, here goes the normal argument by your average white person. I ain't had nothing to do with that. Why should I pay? And that argument is crazy, because I don't think nobody ever argued that somebody should go in white people accounts and take some money out and give some of it to black people. If you work in a job and they did some reparations, it's probably going to affect you just as much as, just to keep it a buck, as the stimulus plan did. You feel me? I'm saying, let's keep it a buck. We all say stuff like, oh yeah, I'm going to wind up paying for that. But where you see that? How you see that? Where at in your taxes at the end of the year was you like, damn, here go this extra bread I'm paying because of the stimulus? In theory, since they got fiat money, that just be made up, make them up shit. I got to grab some water real quick. Hold on, we're going to keep rolling. Let me do this, though. Be right back. Hold on. Let me see. Real quick. Man, it's looking ugly right about now. If you look around, America falling apart. Earth fighting back, all these natural events, you know what I'm talking about? It's time for a mass awakening. Spiritual enlightenment. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. I'm just trying to live my life, make it through these days of time. Am I the only one who's wondering? No, I'm not. Teacher, 9 ether, timekeeper, bear witness for the blind creature, mind reader, not college, God knowledge. It pop up like E. coli and Oddwallers. Now who can see me? I raise my Kundalini, yeah, EOG, lowercase G-O-D, the snake charmer, great karma, tear through the fake armor. They gonna hate on ya. Well. All right, thank you for waiting. Oh man, got caught, choked up. Let me see. So, again, the nation is the answer. when they paid reparations to the Jewish people, Germany paid that money. When we just came up with all this money to give Ukraine, are you sitting there saying, oh man, at the end of the year on my taxes, this Ukraine money, I can't, damn, took a hit, this Ukraine money. No, no one ever said that in their life. So mounting that argument that I didn't do anything, why should I have to pay? First of all, reparations is not a process of going in white people bank accounts, taking a percentage of their money and giving it to black people. Reparations ain't nothing about another line item tax on your income statement. And now you looking at all these things and the last one say reparations. And you got $200 less at the end of the week. All of them pseudo arguments is just jargon to not let the movement move forward. Everybody put their hand out and was dumb ready, doing everything in the world for some PPP. Billions. White people getting billions, PPP. Nobody tripping. Oh yeah, COVID hurt my business. COVID hurt your business? Racism hurt my people. Slavery. Like y'all tripping. COVID? No disrespect to COVID and all the damage. We all got lost ones to COVID. But we all got lost ones to slavery and injustice too. So everybody could turn up, be all, come on, man, you see how this world do. Didn't nobody go get nothing but new whips, clothes, cars, everybody. Ooh, I got a yacht now. Ooh. PPP could have been reparations. The amounts add up, and nobody at the end of the year was talking about, oh, man, dang, they did PPP. Now I got to pay this extra on my taxes. I'm so mad. That's fake. Give money to Ukraine. First of all, the government got dumb bots because they learned it from Russia and stuff. Get your bots on Twitter. Make a hashtag. Support Ukraine. I'm not saying don't support Ukraine. I'm saying what is the skewed ass playing field we on? So shout out to San Francisco for drafting this. And I'm going to read it from the, matter of fact, I'm just going to read a regular article on it before we go into the actual draft. And if you're in your city, you know, like shout out to Brother Reggie. And this is what we're going to talk about. Because inside of here, and it's... y'all got to stop belittling this work we doing, bro. I'm about to put hands on y'all. No matter what you want to say. I'm going into the draft for the reparation plan from San Francisco to give $5 million. Okay? To each person. Something crazy like that. Even though it's getting all of his bot. Look. Let me see. Watch, the bots is in action and the human haters is in action. Because they know the precedent that it will set. Oh, reparations. So we're going to just let y'all see this first. I might as well just play this. They might hate on my content, so I'll read it. Well, whatever, man. It says, some new details have emerged from San Francisco's committee about reparations for black residents to the tune of millions of dollars. The The city's African American Reparations Advisory Committee presented proposals to city leaders last month. According to San Francisco Chronicle on Tuesday, one proposal is a one-time lump sum reparations payment of $5 million to each eligible person. Here go your censors. Oh, hell no. $5 million? That's a lot. Each person, shut your punk ass up. The task force came up with this amount. Oh, that means if it's a family of 5, they had $25 million. We don't want no rich black people. We might not have to deal with poverty-stricken communities. $5 million to each eligible person. Residents must be 18 at the time the committee's proposal is enacted and have identified as Black or African American on public documents for at least 10 years. Something to rattle with this? No matter where you at in America and you Black, you need to contribute. You want to know why? Because all of the people is hating, is contributing their content to the world. Let's just go look back at this. All you got to do, go look at how all of them, they work. They at work. Just Google this article and Google this bill and you're going to see all of this stupid bill. Oh, this reparation. San Francisco stupid. Oh, no. Go write your article and counteract all that BS in this dumbass world, because half of them is propaganda bots that's still just trying to stifle a movement that's actually being drafted to possibly become a bill or something. Who knows? Now, California Reparations Task Force met in Oakland to discuss areas of harm for descendants of enslaved Black people that should be compensated. What? Oakland?
For more than a year, California's Task Force on Reparations has been examining the research and data. Now it's time to focus on some big decisions.
September's meeting in LA and today's meeting in Oakland characterize a development stage where now we're not really looking for folks to provide personal and expert testimony.
Camila Moore is the chairperson of the 9-member task force. She says over the next 2 days at this meeting in Oakland, they'll be examining major takeaways from previous reporting and research by the experts.
I sat on one of those chairs, y'all.
Part of their final report.
I sat on one of those chairs, but it was only for the commission, the arts commission. But I remember being in there, sitting there like, oh, I'm tripping.
It's important to get this right because we're setting a precedent for other states and localities and also for the federal government as well.
5 key issues discussed focus on areas of harm for which California should compensate. Those include property taken by eminent domain, devaluation of Black businesses, housing discrimination and homelessness, incarceration and over-policing of Black communities, and harms to people's health. Oakland City Council member Carol Fife says housing is a big issue for her.
Homelessness is off the chart.
So all of the redlining, all of the stuff, I mean, they working to address it. So let's look into the bill and get to my point. And while I was saying shout out to Brother Reggie, who came up with the Black City plan, that certain things like that, I mean, you know, we need to at least pay some respect towards. Because this is what I want to show you. Because the fruits that should be bore or that we intend to bear from this tree, one of the seeds, now we talk about Kemet every day, and I love y'all menudos who be like, how study in Egypt, how all this, how all that. But I ain't going to even say nothing. I'm just going to read this. I ain't gonna read it all. I'm tired of reading. But I have to at least give you an introduction. Since the forced enslavement of people of African descent, there has been both resistance to the institution of chattel slavery and demands for redress thereof. The genetic psychological, financial, and racial trauma experience. Psychological. The genetic, psychological, financial, and racial trauma experienced by Black Americans through the U.S. chattel slavery is one of the greatest crimes against humanity perpetrated by our nation. This is a document about San Francisco, by the way. It says the practice of slavery in the U.S. was uniquely violent and disruptive, wherein African Americans were foundationally and systematically disconnected from knowledge of their geographies, language, names, relatives, and historic cultural practices. Despite the efforts to yield other outcomes, Black people in America have consistently built loving families, communities, provided a blueprint for American cuisine, constructed our nation's most notable monuments, and are the most influential creators of artistic expression globally through dance, music, fashion, and language. It says, though both the enslaved, formerly enslaved, and their descendants, along with other activists, scholars, and advocates have, I need a reader for my show. As the show grow, I'm gonna break bread for somebody who's gonna just be the resident reader. So if that's you, get at me about wanting to be the reader. So I could just say, read. It says scholars and advocates have called for reparations over 200 years in the United States, a pivotal contemporary point of activation and understanding of reparations came in 2014 when who? Not Islam Muhammad or not Jehovah, what have you, but actually Ta-Nehisi Ta-Nehisi Coates. And y'all know who Ta-Nehisi Coates is, right? Yahweh Brown didn't influence San Francisco to get up on reparations. Nor did Islam Muhammad. It was actually Ta-Nehisi Coates. Why do I say that? Because every day we teach y'all about Ta-Nehisi being Nubia. And by the statement of his name, he letting you know where it's coming from right now. Ta-Nehisi Coates. But what he do? He remained in academia and scholarship and kept beating them up. I'm just saying, who influenced them? Ta-Nehisi Coates or the Nubian. I'm just putting that out there. And that's what made me put a shout out to Brother Ressi. Because when Ta-Nehisi Coates presented the case for reparations in the Atlantic, in a seminal essay, it says Coates expands on the common understanding of the purpose of reparations to encompass not only the atrocities committed by this country during the era of chattel slavery, but also call out the role of the government in creating and perpetuating poverty by codifying racial practices in housing policy, particularly during the post-war era of urban Black history in 1950s through 1970s, known as urban renewal. It says, urban renewal. Coates illustrates Black displacement and white fighting using Chicago as an example. White flight. Coates illustrates Black displacement and white flight using Chicago as an example. But it's very clear that the effects reach far beyond the limits of the city and the prairie. It says Chicago, like the country at large, embraced policies that placed Black Americans, most energetic, ambitious, and thrifty countrymen, beyond the pale of society and marked them as rightful targets for legal theft. It says, legal theft, as a matter of fact. It says, the effects reverberate beyond the families who were robbed to the communities that behold the spectacle. Now, you can read this whole thing, but it's a bill, and again, that is not a bill, but it's just a report by a task force in San Francisco that we should all be aware of to make a small move towards rebirth. And now let's talk about the nation for real. I don't even want to hate though, because it's stupid ass people who be like, now these are the worst of the worst people, but they be acting like black people are America's problem. Right? But for those people, I would say, really America's problem is not atoning for reparations. I mean, not atoning for slavery and not getting on reparations earlier. Because all of that money nobody would be shooting nobody in the hood. Nowhere. Everybody be trying to think about building their future, just like in other communities. So let me see. I seen the question in the chat. When you get a chance, I have a Metal Netter question for you, please. Was reading the Hotep means to rest or to occupy, but thought it means to peace. Yeah, it does mean to rest sometimes. I don't know about occupy, but it definitely means peace as well. But peace in the sense of an offering. Not like we walk up and say peace. More like an offering, like we'll definitely talk about that. And so this is just one movement in California, towards the ultimate, the fight of denial of reparations, because it's not even for reparations, because this nation understands paying reparations. It understands it. It knows just how to do it. It's done it before. You know what that really mean? That mean all right, let's go back to the history of what this means. And let's look at your life and put these things in context. I remember when I went to Montero Junior High, and some of my Chinese, not even Chinese partners, some of my Japanese homies would talk about how they was going to get a check for 20 G's when they turned 18. And I'd be like, why? And they'd be like, because I'm Japanese. So this is what they were talking about. And I know he said 18,000 because he was young and didn't understand someone was taking 10% of his check. Whoever he's going through, the lawyer or the intermediary, is taking 2 G's of his 20,000 reparations check, just like people do now. Be like, ooh, I'll hook you up with the credit, just give me 2 G's, and when your money come in, you're gonna get it. You know they're gonna be doing that for reparations too, right? You know it's gonna be a scammer in the black community. You ain't got your reparations yet? Oh, just give me all your numbers. I'll do it right now. No, just sit down. I don't have to do it right now. I just need 2 G's when you get that back. That's a hustler. I ain't hating. I'm just talking. But you know that ain't about to happen. Please. Anyway, the papers was for 2 G's, and like I said, the apology for the internment for over 120,000 Japanese Americans during the war, and the check went to 80,000 people. I said 2 G's, 20 G's. Now, why I wanted to go here, because, like I said, let's look at how this occurred in your life. Civil Liberties Act of 1988. You was listening to Rakim, trying to learn how to break dance. your Japanese partner who liked your culture, wasn't really all into it, was waiting on his 20G check from reparations for the nation, while you was probably looking to figure out how to get a job at McDonald's. I'm just saying, this is how it happened in your life. It happened like that. Let's look at some of these other situations. That's 1988. They started paying about 1993. When I was on Jive, thinking I was doing cool, trying to get hustled, some dudes was just sitting at the house getting their 20G checks because they was Japanese. Not because the people on earth was the people who actually did the atrocity. Not because they was the ones who was actually locked up in the in the concentration camp. But because it was wrong. And people benefited from that. And the nation paid this money out. Yeah, you get 20 racks in 1993 when you could buy a brand new car for like 5 G's. Remember in it was 1988. Remember when the Hyundai Excel came out, the brand new one was 6 racks? Brand new car. So this wasn't a lot of money either, but they only paying them for a small lockup. I ain't saying, I'm not belittling them being put in the those concentration camps, but that didn't last for hella long. And them houses getting taken or whatever, that was just a short little period. This is crazy. So what? Am I sitting around waiting on this? See, any of those people, trust me, we got to start putting cards on the table. Any of those people, if you start talking that shit with me, we're going to start playing big bank, take little bank. We're going to go all the way there. Like, are you trying to say that I'm not working in the world and sitting around waiting on some reparations? Then what you got and what you do? Come on. Like, let's see what your plan done brought you. Let's stop attacking our own movements. Now, this ain't the only move that California got going on, because just like they told us on the History Channel about how all of these little, like Florida came together to pay Rosewood. I don't know what Oklahoma has done about Tulsa yet, but you know that gotta happen. Like, you can't really come through and burn down nobody whole community economic installments, you know what I'm saying, and straight just burn it down out of your white mob hate and just be like, oh, we just gonna sweep that under the rug for history. People had thriving businesses. Cats is like, oh, this is getting too good. Hey, Bobby, when we gonna get together, burn down the Negroes' establishments? They're getting too rich. See, and so the fact that the government had a hand in that, because there's no rebuild effort, there's no nothing. It's just, oh, they burnt your stuff down. Let's bring the bulldozers. We taking this land our land now. You can't pay for it no more. But that happened in California multiple times. And all of this stuff eventually over time must be addressed. Else the nation won't ever just be able to flourish like it's supposed to. If everybody be like, man, what's the matter with, that's the real matter, motherfucker. Half cats is giving an effort to not atone for this and act like this still should be the way. And really, if you didn't have hella poor people in your country created by your system, then things would be better. Like, how easy is that? You can figure that out on a video game, yo. If you did a video game called Run the Nation and it had all the elements that we are discussing, you make these decisions? Sometimes you can see stuff better on the sticks or in a simulation. I know damn well if you was playing a video game called Run a Nation, Build an Empire, that you would have to figure out how to atone for this part in order for your nation to get better and to thrive, because you got a contingency of the citizens who just ain't happy, up to par, that have been treated wrong. You figure that out. You'll be looking through your little financial budget on your game, and you'll be like, okay, they keep doing this. I want a better society. I'm going to fix this. But you can't do it in real life. How come you can figure that out on a simulated video game? So we often talk about all this black land in California that they took. And I'm about to keep going in. Ain't no reservation. Look, it ain't no reparation. Bruh, do y'all know everything that you know as Tahoe? All that got took from black people. Like, just think about generational wealth. We could go right now to a cabin in Tahoe to rent it for 1 weekend, gonna be like $3,000. People take this. Have you watched Yellowstone? Just watch Yellowstone, that series that be on whatever show. And you see about white people fighting for their land and how generational wealth is a thing. We just puzzled. Cats be so dumb, we really will fight the way you supposed to fight for generational wealth. We will fight for that for weekly income. Seriously, you'll go pop somebody for money that'll be gone in a week. But won't engage in the fight for generational wealth. What kind of, I don't even get it. But that's what poverty do, because you start living day by day. But I'm not even on Negro Hill. Yes, you could talk about it. What they're going to do is minimalize it. What you're going to be left with is El Dorado, California. Let's go. All of those casinos. Now, do you see this? So I want to go back. Do you see this area? That's El Dorado County. Don't let nobody tell you when I say Negro Hill and I'm talking about all this was black people that it wasn't. Going all the way to South Lake Tahoe. They just took it. All this land. How they took it? How you think they took it? Start killing niggas. And excuse my language, but that's what it is. They start, for the edit, they started killing these proud black men who was up here working and doing their thing. So put that in your mental edit. You could erase, go back, and make it sound right to your head, so you won't be like, on your show, you shouldn't probably use this language. Just edit it in your head. You got control. All right? South Lake Tahoe. And I really don't like that sometimes my language slip like that. I'm not just hating on you. Like, yo, we ain't perfect, B. Damn, I'm trying. So let's go. Y'all see all this area? Do you know that this fake lake was flooded to hide what we know as Negro Bar? I keep talking about it. This is what black people paying for gold. Before America got California. How you know you wasn't related to some of them? How you know anything? How you know? How you know what would have been the fruits of this? This is 1844. Before 1849, San Francisco 49ers. We got 5 years of trying to get rid of, fighting with Indians and black people. But we ain't in no damn ancient times. We in the 1800s. Stealing, swindling, and your man John Folsom, see Folsom Lake? Fake lake, not a natural lake. John Folsom swindled this land from a black man. Just tell me how that gotta be swept under the rug and not atoned for, that type of stuff. This is a state lake. This should at least be, the funds from this lake should at least be going to some damn poor black people someplace. At least, at very least. You think I made this up? All your ass could do is go camp at Negro Bar now. Like I told you, they make jokes out of this stuff. You want to go to Folsom Lake? You go to Negro Bar campground, and you possibly close to where black people used to mine gold before John Folsom swindled William Alexander's Leidendorf's family out of this area after he died. Multiple accounts on the story. One account say that he paid like 8 G's for 35,000 acres or something like that. Yes. Swindle, a straight swindle. Found his family in the Caribbean, had them sign some documents about some land they didn't even know their son really owned. That was all that important. That should just be left like cool like that. That's cool. It happened? Okay, cool. Well, what about all of the other, what about the land value of Negro Hill? Well, you don't have any claims to the land value of Negro. Okay, cool. But let's just talk about it first. Before you say we don't got no claims to it or not, how much, what's the property value in these areas? Oh, every home, $1 million. Plus, not just $1 million. Every home, you know, not from Placerville to, but once you start getting around the lakes, just black people. And so you could go in some of the detailed stories about Negro Hill in El Dorado County. Now, this is the Mormon Island Relocation Cemetery. Ironically enough, on Negro Hill. The story is that Mormons was mining gold here first. I don't know if they're going to tell you, but it don't make no sense. They might have been mining in that Mormon island, but the greater area was Negro Hill. And so it just tells you, and these are some of the graves, and I can even show you some more atrocities about how just how bad the nation did, bro. Let me show you. So if you go look at the graves on Negro Hill, some of them in Mormon Island, up until 1960s, some of the grave tombstones, Negro Hill Tombstones. Dude, you ain't even gonna like what you about to see. Look at this. I'm saying Negro Hill. And y'all acting like I'm being harsh. Look how harsh the world is. These are tombstones in Negro Hill. Look at this. What does it say? Unknown. Moved from where? Where is it moved from? So don't even say nothing. That in 1954, the U.S. government would make a tombstone for an unidentified body that says moved from Negro Hill Cemetery. You see that? See, they done went back and called it Mormon. They done went back and called it the Mormon Hill, but all you got to do is go to this 1954 tombstone and see what they called it then. So who really hill was this? Tahoe. I'm not making no claims to that bread, but somebody need that bread, bruh. That's all the gold country. Don't you know about the gold rush of 1949? 1849? Huh? Everybody know. How did this come? Because black people was making their way to the West and coming up. Mixing in with Indian tribes, and that's where we messed that up at. Because now you in the 2000s, yeah, you might got some Indian in you, but when that happened, though, didn't happen in ancient times. So when we talk about the property value, I just had to pull this up. Again, everyone see this is an unknown tombstone that says moved from Negro Hill Cemetery by the U.S. government, 1954. And this ain't the only Negro Hill in the United States. And so the fact that they would use such a pejorative bad word officially let you know exactly whose hill it was. But what do you got now? Bunch of ski resorts. Actually, they take these black areas and they make them some of the most pristine white areas. This is just what I know. Now you got to feel like, ooh, I'm going to Tahoe, I'm going out of my area. Huh? What's up with Juan? He said he need that bread Smash. I don't know what that means. But there's nobody in the world who need that bread from Smash. Ask anybody. You know? So, let me know what that means. And shout out to you, Juan. It says, move from Negro Hill Cemetery. I keep saying it. Because of my story, I was telling you this. All right? That the area we seen on the map known as El Dorado, California, was called Negro Hill. And we see that spans from where I told you that right here was Negro Bar, where a lot of the pan and gold happened, all the way up to the higher points of Negro here, even to Lake Tahoe, Lower Lake Tahoe. All right. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the Sandal supporters. This looked like we got 113 people in the building. I appreciate y'all. There's always a chance to join the channel for like 10 cents a day, family. You could be helping me to keep doing this more and more and more. Because the more members I get, the more dedicated I have to be to disseminating this type of information. If you find this useful, just like we using the AI, you ain't got to do the research. I do the research, put it on the screen. You could vet the sources and see. You feel me? And so let's keep it about. Some of this stuff is relevant to know because it helps you to have a good frame of where you at in the world. And why should we be having some people of our own contingency or any contingency arguing against reparations? What is the root to reparations? It ain't welfare, it's repair. Repair rate. Repair. So you saying ain't nobody asked for no handout, no welfare, nothing. You saying no economic repair? No economic repair? Like for the stuff that they messed up? That ain't cool? Wow. Then you suit up. I don't care. Economic repair? Let's just stop saying rations. Let's just call it economic repair. Don't that seem like something that's morally justified? Because if economic repair is qualified, there has been some type of economic damage. What do you damage that you just leave damaged? The only thing you could damage and leave damaged is black people. Don't nobody damage nothing and don't not repair it. So let's leave the Asians off with reparations. And let's just ask for some repair. Now, who broke what? Now you know what got broke. Now you can identify it easily by leaving the Asians off reparations. Now we all in our boats. Now you trying to get a boat to float over where you would have got all your riches to have hundreds of boats. Because you want to go to a Lake Folsom and chill for the weekend. Flood out the black areas and let's get it popping. Displace those people and just leave them poverty stricken. That is a secret policy because you can find it happening too many times. You feel me? Incredible. So I'm saying, we gave plenty instances of economic repair. All right. So what the question is, why are these instances and these atrocities excluded? Primarily because we work against each other and don't form unified movements towards this type of stuff. Now, it wasn't even not only Negro Hill. Let's hear from them again. Because all of Palm Springs, y'all know Palm Springs? It's funny, we got a little bit of land in Palm Springs, too. That's why you see this Riverside County tax collector on my thing. But Palm Springs. Palm Springs reparations. Do y'all know when they talking about all of this golf tournaments in the Palm Springs, all of this stuff? Bruh, that was black people stuff too. They did the same thing. So if they didn't flood it, they either use water or fire, B. They burned it down. Just like Tulsa, Oklahoma, just like I'm showing y'all in the Negro Bar, and plenty of other instances that I could bring to you that for no reason, just to stifle and to hurt the progress of black people, they do stuff like this. But cats is on here acting like, oh man, you need to get up. Get up and do what? To get your generational wealth that you deserve from this. Get up and do what? Don't nothing matter on nothing because money don't stop. Money go on top of money. So even Jay-Z need his reparations. Like, what do you think? Do you get amount of money to where you don't need what's owed to you no more? When the nation, let's say we're going to be philanthropic to another nation and help that nation out. Do we look in their bank account first? When we consider in helping a nation, giving $1 billion or $1 trillion to Israel, do we look and say, hold up though, let me see what y'all got. Y'all already got some paper. Or do we look into society and be like, if y'all would just get up, if the Israelis would just do their thing, they wouldn't need $1 billion from the government every year. This stuff is nonsense. So let's talk about it. Palm Springs. Destination location, California. We got a reparations bill being developed in Palm Springs. I don't want to call them bills. I don't know what I'm talking about in that regard. We got a group pushing Section 14 reparations, dramatically increasing the amount sought from Palm Springs. Palm Springs was black. They came through with them torches. Walking down the street, man, cats gotta know, get some aim out here. I swear. I remember I was living in San Leandro by a Catholic church. And they was doing a ceremony one night. And they all came down the street looking like the Ku Klux Klan. I thought it was the night, boy. I was like, tonight's the night. I'm ready. Oh, they lucky they had something, boy. It was going to be all on the news. Today in San Leandro, black man, woom-de-woom-woom. How you about to let a mob of people with torches come walking down the street and burn your shit down? What is the men? Man, please. I ain't disrespecting nobody. I know the hardships. You couldn't get a gun. You were stuck in poverty. Do we assess the time to die at any time? Is that ever appropriate to you? Do you know how fun that'd be if you knew you was a man and you was like, now the time to die? Nigga, that's popping. Excuse my language. Because you can let go of everything else. You feel me? And so we got to stop being so noodly, real talk. It got to be like the time, sometime got to be the time to die, as you just going to get that shit took by fate or diabetes or shit that's already attacking you. You ain't gonna have no control. So men before us had more control over their lives. Like, what? My shit stop tomorrow at 2. Soon as these fools come. I'm just saying. The only thing that stopped that type of stuff, like a mob coming down the street about to burn down burn down the chance of generational wealth. Please. Whoever ain't ready to die need to get popped right then anyway. Because you scaring more people. Here they come. Y'all about to run? So they let them burn it all down. Now I know, and I'm not coming down on my people. We know how this works. We know what being outnumbered, outgunned, out everything is. We know what being oppressed and stepped on is like. So don't think I'm sitting here saying, ooh, I'm strong, they were weak. I hate that aspect. Ooh, I'm not my ancestors. Shut up. You would have got hands put on by your ancestors. They was working in the sun every day. What you mean you not your ancestors? You go to the gym, bruh. You not about to get nothing at the gym that you get from slavery, bruh. Slavery will whoop your ass. You think you could go to the gym and throw hands with somebody in slavery? 30 minutes a day. This dude get the rest for 30 minutes a day. You do your 45 minutes in the gym and the hour at training. This dude get to sit down for 30 minutes a day and an hour to eat. And all the rest is work, no sleep, as you getting beat on your back with a whip. All I'm saying is, let's stop disrespecting our people who went through the plight because we in a better, more free situation and be talking like, oh, I'm not my ancestors. You would get these hands. What? Shut up. Stop being disrespectful to your own people. I'm not my ancestors. What's up? I hate them dumb movements on social media. Yeah, I'm telling you, somebody right now, a farmer baling hay, will put hands, bruh. Somebody swinging and chopping the axe. Let's just be more respectful. Now, man has figured out that training is the height of everything. You know what I'm saying? Training and repetition, that's the height of everything. But some people's lives bring repetition into a way that you can't beat them. Like the way that a lumberjack swings an axe every day, you ain't about to go to the gym and do 30 sets and catch up with that. So that's why Francis Ngannou beat everybody ass. Because he from the salt mines of Africa. Like, what you gonna train to compete with that? Anyway, we getting off point. And I love training. I'm not training now, but don't take my method, anything I'm saying wrong. You feel me? We work out because we got different lives now, and it just fit into what we doing. But I'm simply saying those people, come on, man, them real warriors, like the people who have to do it every day. So I don't want to be acting like our ancestors who was forced to work hard, and we like, oh, we better than them now because we got a Planet Fitness, and our abs is tight. Cats wouldn't even think about their abs. Everybody was swole because they had to work all dang day. But let me get back on point. Group pushes Section 14 reparations dramatically increases the amount sought after from Palm Springs. A group advocating for the payment of reparation for those evicted from Section 14 land in Palm Springs during the 50s and 60s, and their descendants filed an amendment claim Tuesday that dramatically increased the amount it says the city owes. The claim estimates the value of the harm caused by the evictions to be upward to $2 billion. An economist working with the group, Julian Malvaxu, or whatever, Malvox, it says Tuesday that she estimates the harm ranging from 400 million to 2 billion. That's up sharply from the proposal in August that saw 100 million in direct payments plus other benefits including down payment assistance and college scholarships. Like, why you can't give a college scholarship? You could give a college scholarship to anybody who could dunk. But college scholarships should definitely be part of reparations. At least, even if they was at HBCUs and it was just paid fun. Come on, man. That ain't nothing. If you could get a scholarly for playing sports, you should be able to get a scholarly for being mistreated. A scholarship. A few months before that, in May, an initial claim said that only the requested damages would exceed 1 million. Says Malvox said 2 billion figure is not the number the group is necessarily asking for, but the one is coming to the table. But the one it is coming to the table with. But the one it's coming to the table with. She said the families and their representatives are instead asking for the city to deal with them in good faith, to come up with a fair compensation that reflects the real harms they suffered. So you know the harms, right? Well, let's think about the harms. Let's just get on Zillow and look for the price of property on these. Dude, this is a destination location for Californians. They took a desert and they did it kind of like they did Las Vegas, but to a shorter extent. And so this is active in where we at right now. This is what's going on right now. There's a lot to be said about it, but in order to bring it like to a small close, and I might come back later, I think we really need to focus on these conversations. Because again, America has a history of paying out reparations and it ain't affected nobody. It ain't been like, oh, we paid the reparations and the economy went into a tailspin. Actually, we should also pull that data to show that none of these payments ever affected the economy. So the argument for my average white person that, oh man, I didn't do it. I actually feel sorry for the situation, but I don't want to pay nothing. I don't feel like I owe nothing. Nobody wants your ass to pay nothing. Shut up and support the movement. Nobody wants nothing from you. Nothing. Think about it. Some people could be made free. You could never have no guilt, and you don't even got to pay a dime. So why then even put your energy into saying that you think that if your ancestors or even some people did something egregious to some people that set their families back in life, and we know it's true, it's called slavery, 1860 something? Come on, man. Then at least you could say, yeah, that's right. Change your little fake view that's unbased in nothing about reparations being some type of a welfare. Argue to people how it isn't. Show them how it isn't. The root word being repaired, that ain't in welfare. Welfare, oh, I'm just looking out. Make sure your welfare, that you cool, you well and fair. I don't need nobody to see that I'm well and fair. I'm going to be well and fair, bro. But repaired from a state that I didn't even have nothing to do with? Oh, yeah, break bread, bro. And it ain't nothing. And lastly, in closing, we also hear the argument that First, black people need to learn financial literacy. If you don't know financial literacy, what you gonna do? You're gonna get your reparation, you're gonna go buy a car. So what? Shut up. Just shut up. Because don't nobody say that in no other instances to no other people. Well, the Indians first. The Indians gonna need some financial literacy before we get the land grant. Oh, no. The Jews, they gonna need financial literacy before they, you can't act like that. Nobody do that. And no, you don't need financial literacy before you're compensated for an injustice. You could go be a bum. You could go to Vegas, go blow your reparations. One bet. That don't got nothing to do with it at all. It has nothing to do with it. No judge is going to give you a verdict based on what you're going to do with it. Unless, of course, you're going to do something that causes harm to national security. Or you got one of these judges that's just overbearing. But most often, a judge ain't looking at, oh, well, you hit their car, but I can't give them a judgment because they a crackhead. Now, they might do something monetary if the person having some type of issues that'll cause, they might be like, well, we're going to put your money in a trust. But it's not about to affect no judgment what you going to do with the money. All of these fake arguments is dumb. And the root of them is what? Like, why argue against somebody getting their paper? So you don't need financial literacy before you compensate it. You should want it. If you don't want it, you lightweight tripping. And you're going to be dumb, and you're going to get beat out of whatever you got, but then you don't have to have it. What's yours is yours. So all of these arguments, again, I just wanted to bring a little bit of light, and anybody could pull up the draft for the San Francisco reparations plan and possibly look and build on this for your city. And if we're not attacking it on a national level, let's attack it on a local level and then on the state level and then bring it up ultimately to the national level. Because wasn't no cities doing slavery. Slavery was legal in the whole nation. And what you can say, oh, we wasn't alive. Shut your punk ass up. You wasn't alive when most of your generational wealth for your family was accumulated either. My partners are, so, I mean, like I said, I can't beat that into the ground. But again, I did want to offer some things for people to look into. And like I said, I look at this document similar to what Reggie wrote about the Black City Plan. We got to stop being so, that'll never happen-ish. And now, they even going in on how San Francisco, they specifically targeting Bank of America and the U.S. Bank National Union for their economic profits off chattel slavery. San Francisco. All right. What's that? So then lastly, one issue of reparations I didn't speak towards, and I'll close this out for all the pseudo-menudos who act like somebody who's speaking on reparation. They really mentioned my brother in this article. I just got through talking about Leidensdorf, how Leidensdorf was the black man who founded Frisco. So just for that. But they swindled him out of his land, bruh. Here they're going to speak on his. So you can say mixed race now because that's a thing. But back then they called you a name that indicated that you had black in you. It was called mulatto. All right? And so you couldn't even just be mixed, right? You had black in you is what the name meant. Shout out to the Black Raven for the contribution. Always loved and respected over here. I appreciate you. It says, one of San Francisco's founding fathers was a mixed-race black and Jewish man named William Alexander Leidensdorf Jr. A Caribbean immigrant, Leidensdorf first came to Yerba Buena. What became what? What became what? San Francisco, when the settlement had fewer than 100 people, fewer than 100 inhabitants, and helped to establish San Francisco as a growing coastal destination for investors and wealth seekers alike. Leidensdorf was a savvy businessman and was extremely politically active, donating land to create the first public school. I forgot to tell y'all that. Dang, man, I forgot to tell y'all before they told y'all. Leidensdorf, a black man, set up the first public school in California. All right. How you like that? That's Frisco telling you that. Our business and was extremely politically active, donating land to create the first public school in Frisco, as well as California. Was one of the city's first public school board administrators. I think it's about to say school board. What? School board members, was elected city treasurer. So who was the first city treasurer of San Francisco? William Alexander Leidensdorf. And was appointed U.S. Vice Consul to Mexico and is believed to be one of the first black American millionaires due to his investments in steamboats and real estate. All right. So again, I don't want to talk about this no more. I think there's a lot of leads and some pretty good information in here. What I ultimately want to do is, use my influence to get some people to open up their mind to the concept. Like, no, reparations ain't like that. Reparations don't got nothing to do with a handout or your status economically. You could be balling and still be deserve something. Or you could be broke and still be deserve something. You could be not economically sound. None of that should be things that you use to hold back people. So right here, San Francisco is showing you an old map that was really used. Now look, basically, they got grades and a legend. If you look over at the legend, these communities are graded, right? And then the redlining would mean that, look, a map of the Homeowners Land Corporation surveyors in the 1930s grade San Francisco's neighborhood based on perceived risk to financial institution. Green is the best when red is hazardous. Guess who live in the red? Matter of fact, we probably could go all down 3rd Street on this map, and it's probably going to run all one of these lines. So by doing this, these maps were the foundation is what is commonly known as redlining, a federal government-sanctioned practice of denying home mortgages, business loans, and other financial services to certain neighborhoods. The effects of this practice are still felt today. So if I live in this house, I can't get a small business loan, but I live in this greenhouse, I can. If I live in this green area, I can. How do I get into this green area? By getting a loan. Well, I can't get a loan if I don't live in the green area already. Oh, so the only people who could get loans already live in the green area. Wow. So now, this is San Francisco. There's not really a house in San Francisco under $1 million right now. 2 million is average. About average. 1.8. If your family owned a house in the 1930s, and yes, black people was here since the 1930s, what you think that'd be worth right now? And let me tell you, I had a conversation with this old white dude who lived in San Ramon, California. Rich Airy told me his house was worth $2 million. He was chilling, we was talking. He told me he don't be tripping. He be like, all that stuff that y'all be hearing, you be talking about, like about do this in life, do that in life. He was like, no. All I did was get a house. He was like, people will tell you this. He was like, all I did was got a house for $70,000. In the 70s, he bought a house in San Ramon. $70,000. Today, his house is worth $2 million. He said, and then in the 80s, after I made a little bit of money off this house, I bought houses for my kids. And now they not tripping. He's like, they got careers, everything, they make money, but they don't need no money because these houses, as they appreciate, that's just more money for you. You know what I'm saying? You could take equity out of your home. And so he was breaking this down, like how actually owning a home since the 70s set him up for life and his children. So then if you could have owned it since the 30s, your kids would probably really be set. But we act like all of these things ain't happened. All right. So this is something from the Hunters Point Housing Committee, and all of these things is good to look at. The mid-60s evaluated cultural profile of African Americans in San Francisco. The exponential growth of African American population in San Francisco during the wartime era provided influential in establishing the city's art and cultural national profile. African American musicians and artists were increasingly attracted to and visiting the Harlem of the West, a vibrant corridor in San Francisco's Fillmore district that became a gateway for black jazz musicians thanks to the concentration of black-owned and black-serving venues and hotels. The Fillmore corridor was a vibrant designation, and then they took all that too from black people. Bought it all up and got them all up out of there. You won't see too many black businesses in the Fillmore no more. But back then, it was a vibrant corridor of the city's black population with restaurants, theaters, hotels, and other businesses that catered to black clientele, and other businesses in San Francisco provided identical services, refused entry to African American people. So the other services that refused entry, you could go there. Business leader Charles Sullivan was foundational in establishing the Fillmore. So you want to hear Fillmore Africa? Right? Go to JT the Bigger Figure page and watch Fillmore Africa. You feel me? And the cultural episode now is just gang culture. It got reduced all from this to I'm from the Mo. I'm from the Mo. You from the Mo, you get shot in the Mo. Dumb. We need to focus more and look at this, because it's more balling and focusing on this than anything else. Additionally, communities building what happened to be Bayview Hunters Point. okay? Where there had been a rapid housing construction and growing homeship. See, this is when Hunters Point was balling and wasn't a gang area. But we only proud of the gang culture that you got some hard homies from the HP that'll put in work for you. Ridiculous. We can start back. All of those people is loved, and those are the people you want, but we need to focus on something different about it. Like, you know, that y'all getting the money, economically, generational wealth together, bruh. That feel a lot better. And so this is just one bill. I didn't get to go too far into what they're doing for Palm Springs, but I would probably want to show a little, let them speak on it on YouTube before I get ready to get up out of here. The sunnier it get, the less in-house streaming I'm going to be able to do. I'm going to have to stream from the kayak. So let's hear about it from this source.
Well, tonight the city of Palm Springs could be facing legal action as hundreds of minority families seek compensation for the destruction of the land known as Section 14 in the downtown area more than half a century ago.
It happened.
So downtown, see? They came through and burned it down, bruh. The area that was, like, they don't go burn down Chinatown. They don't go burn, they just come through and burn down the black areas.
More than half a century ago.
It happened after long-term land leases were legalized on Indian lands and the value of that land soared. As News Channel 3's Jake Ingrassi reports, if the case is successful, it could cost the city of Palm Springs hundreds of millions of dollars.
Palm Springs Section 14 survivors taking steps toward a lawsuit are demanding reparations from the city over a dark.
You thought I made up? No, they didn't burn it down. No. There you go. There you go. They came through with them same torches. I guarantee you, bruh. Trust me, bruh. If y'all is some suckers, I'm hella mad. But that still won't stop me. I'm talking about, like, you see this come, torches? Please, we dying, bruh. We dying. You giving nothing up, bruh. Nope. Think how fun that'll be to live free for those minutes.
Stain in its
This ain't happening on my watch. Now, I ain't nobody, but I'm talking about, and I'm not better than the black man who must have owned this home. I'm not. Whatever he was faced with, I'd probably be faced with the same perils, thinking about my wife and kids and all this stuff, and say, let's just run. But you know what I'm going to say? You know what, babe? Y'all go. Let's see how long it takes before they get me.
Reparations from the city over a dark stain in its past.
As a child, seeing houses being burnt around you, not really knowing what's going on.
Pearl Devers and Delia Ruiz Taylor were among the hundreds of Black and Mexican families who were forced out of their homes in the Section 14 neighborhood near now downtown Palm Springs in the 1950s and 60s.
We were these poor Mexican family, and these white people wanted us out of there.
Their group is now seeking direct payments from the city of Palm Springs for what.
So how is this allowed to happen? Like, well, it can happen when it happened because everybody racist. So when you go to argue, it's just be like now, like calling the police when something racist happened to you. Ain't nothing gonna pull up but a racist ass police officer. So you can't never pinpoint that racism is what you trying to complain about because it's the hardest thing to prove. Never, black man, never, ever, ever when you arguing in your public court, say that the issue is racism. Just show the injustices, articulate the injustices without playing the race card because you're going to make things harder for you. Like, if somebody coming to burn down your house, it ain't got to be because of racism. They simply coming to burn down your house. If you say they coming to burn down your house because they racist, you just gave yourself more things to prove.
Millions of dollars of racially motivated harm caused by the evictions. Damages could range from $400 million to $2 billion. Attorney Ariva Merton is the lead counsel for Section 4.
My man said life sounds so hard for black people in America. It sounds like that, but a lot of us just built like this. Ain't nobody, I don't never walk through thinking life is hard. Maybe some people do, and shout out to you. I wish the best for you. I mean, life is hard for some people, yeah, you know. But the statement life is hard for black people, nah, B. Ain't no sadness, nothing. Life is life. Like I ain't never wanted to switch my position. If some voice came to me like, oh, you can snap your fingers and be something else, I'll be like, get the fuck up out of here, cuz. Straight up. And that opportunity would leave me. Now, I would ask that voice, could I be a better version of myself? And if it said yes, then I'll probably snap my fingers. But you feel me? I ain't gonna opt for nothing else. And so, yeah, life is hard for hella people. You 100% right. And the oppression is real, but if you walk around tripping off that in 2022, if you can't beat oppression, you ain't really like one of the kings. I'm just keeping it a buck. All the kings show you that shit don't matter to a boss is nothing to a boss. Everybody who show you, Jay-Z, Kanye, I'm just showing you what oppression. You can't even get past oppression. That's a weak level. So get to the real level. That's nothing to me. Look at my life, like where I'm gonna be oppressed at. Where they gonna oppress me at? What they gonna do? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that I can't be affected. In all humility, we all human. We could be canceled, but I don't look at like, oh, I'm gonna be oppressed. What, I'm gonna go for a promotion? You deserve to be oppressed. Because you want a promotion. I ain't never wanted no promotion. No disrespect. But think about it. You in somebody's jurisdiction. So you under somebody's control. So yeah, you could be oppressed. You could be oppressed for 20 years. You never gonna get the promotion. Because you're not a boss. You're not a king. You're not a decision maker. You do that. You take them choices. Somebody don't want to wear that hat. Hella people be like, I don't want to make the decisions. I don't want to fire nobody. I don't want to look nobody directly in their eyes and say, you gone. Bro, I enjoy doing that. I love looking directly in your eyes and see who gonna blink first when I'm telling you it's over for you. I don't, because it gotta be done is one of the, I'm just saying, I know I'm going off on a tangent, but those are things that gotta be done. So yeah, you could be oppressed all you want. Go on ahead, be oppressed for the rest of your life. Oh, because of the white man. Keep a mean mug on your face and taint up your household and make everything not all gloomy when you come around. Because you oppressed. Like, I ain't oppressed. I'm sorry, dude. What I'm going to say, I'm just saying, maybe some of it is the attitude, bruh. You oppressed and you know you never going to ball. If you agreed with the world, you're oppressed. You're not going to be a king. You oppressed. You can't do it. Give up. Shit, start thinking about that shit. Why am I oppressed? Because I'm a sucker, because I can't figure out how to do it by myself. So everybody ain't a leader. Stay on your level. if you can't figure out how to do it, ain't nothing the matter with that. But oppression ain't ubiquitous. It's something that you choose, just like now, slavery wasn't a choice because there's force involved in that. But it's not a lot of force in modern day oppression. See, there's a lot of decision making in your modern day oppression. They had to get sneakier and take the force out of it. So old oppression was like, bow over the head, drink this cup. Bow, drink it. You like, okay, I don't want another bow on my head. I'm gonna drink it. But that typically, they got smarter and don't gotta oppress you that way. So now you can't even get out of the mental, psychological oppression. That shit weak. So I got partners, you going to jail, bruh, and shit. You're not on a level. You getting caught by the goddamn white man. You stupid. You never on the level. I don't care. I did my time. Shut up. You're getting caught by the enemy. Ain't no other way to say that. Oh yeah, man, you know, if you ain't never been caught by the enemy, shut up. You can't make that sound good. If you ain't never been caught and put in the box, you know what I'm saying? You don't even know time. I'm never going to know what time it is. Dumbass culture. Dumbass culture. Imagine deer saying, oh, if you ain't never been caught by a lion. Sheep. Oh, y'all ain't real sheep. You ain't never been caught by a wolf. No, you're an idiot. You didn't do it right and got caught. Shut up. You couldn't outsmart the po-pos. No accolades to dummies. Let's stop. I hated that my whole life. A person gonna sell drugs to the whole community, got everybody mama looking bad like a dope fiend, and pull up in the car and we salute them? To this day, all y'all some suckers. All y'all fake rap niggas who be putting the dope dealers up, heralding them like they did something good. Are the old pimps. Oh, he had a stable of hoes. Oh my God. Now, on top of that, corny niggas like that don't have more fun than righteous black men. Do you think your dumb ass life filled with debauchery and all this nonsense could possibly feel better than chilling on the level? All the ladies around know ain't no bullshit going down. But y'all in the room where there's a pimp in there and he gonna make his hoes turn up. You think that's better than balling the right way legally? Everybody happy? Ain't no pressure in the room? Ladies doing what they want to do? Cats be some suckers by the heart. Because really, cats ain't been no men. Cats ain't been in no fights. Cats ain't knocked nobody out. And cats ain't got knocked out. That be the problem. Because you grind a different grind. You get humbled by being knocked out. And you learn certain things. You ain't Superman. You could get mad enough to bring harm to yourself. These are all of these things we learn being. If you were sheltered from that shit, that's what these niggas be. They been sheltered. I ain't got no fights. Okay, that's not bad. I love a person. If you ain't got no fights, that's cool. Because that's cool. That's mean you had it cool. No disrespect. Nobody with a scar on their face is better than you because he got hit across the face with a crowbar because he lived in the hood. No, that don't. No, I ain't got not a tattoo, and I'm not proud of no goddamn scars. Like, what type of silly shit we be doing? Oh yeah, this right here. Oh yeah, this when we was fighting the West Side boy. Yeah, man, shut your worthless ass up. Tired of it. That's why I was proud of Sinetta. Shut up. Don't let I don't care. Don't let the bozo speak the most. Because you messing up the room. Now, if the bozo gonna tell you how the bozo got the most money out of everybody, then let him talk. But he's not going to do that. Black men ain't gonna open their mouth and tell other black men how to reach prosperity openly and willingly. They not. They gonna come in, I got the most money, I get to talk the most. If you are under that pecking order, you a noodle. And at least, I'm gonna tell you something. It worked like this. It don't matter how much money you got. The reason why you feel measly in the presence of men who, because you still like trying to be stable. That shouldn't affect your knowledge or nothing. I'm talking about in life, all people. Hope nobody don't think I'm talking about nobody in particular. No. I'm talking about those occurrences when a boss walk in and you don't even got words no more. That's because you ain't really thinking like your shit's stable. So I don't give a damn. I could be talking to Jay-Z, bruh. Like, for real. And it's always going to get bigger and bigger and bigger with the money people we talking to. So if I don't give a damn what you got, if you ain't telling us how you got it, then shut the fuck up, because really, yo shit you spitting ain't helping nobody.
Survivors and descendants.
These families were denied that opportunity. They were denied the opportunity to purchase homes, to build that equity, and then to pass that equity down to subsequent generations. That is how we build.
Oh, no, I definitely wasn't mad at Wack. I think you might be commenting to the chat. But no, I'm talking about that ultimately, bro. Let's talk about it since we was little kids and we stood in circles. The nigga who just got out of jail got to talk the most. Fuck that mean? What's that about? Like, I'm just saying, the one who got caught and didn't do it successfully came back with some heightened accolades. That is going down the wrong path. Even if you wanted to espouse gang culture, shouldn't you be liking the people who don't get caught? Like, I'm just saying, and we all grew up in different hoods and we all seen it. Ain't nobody more. I just stayed away from it all the time. Ask anybody, bro. 13 years old. I used to be like, y'all hella dumb. But I was right there. I'm the homie, I'm the partner. I'm kicking it, but I'm going to tell my partners how my eyes see it. I'm not going to say, hey, bro, I really think there's a future for you in selling this crack standing here. I'm going to pull up, bump and knock and hop out the car and say, you niggas dumb as fuck. Leave my shit running right there, go in the store, get some shit, nobody touch my motherfucking car, hop right back in my shit and cut right in East Oakland. Jonathan Owens, casual. Not to demean nobody, but talking to your partners like, you still standing here, blood? Go to fucking house. Or pick up your partner who's standing on the corner and say, you got a gun on you, bro? Get in the car and drive him to his house. Like, why are you standing on the corner with a gun? You stupid. Bruh, you just realize it that you don't think good for yourself, so let me take you to the house. I know I'm off the point, and I'm saying, yo, everyone needs to talk. You can learn from everybody. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that ever being caught by the white man makes you less than, but don't bring your ass back like you some boss because your ass got put in handcuffs. You know how sorry you felt when that shit happened? So stop lying. You know you was thinking about what you should have did different. Selling that dream to the youngsters. Yeah, it was like a party in the pen. Shit, I knew everybody. I wasn't even tripping. What? You know you heard people say that shit. Oh, it was like a party in the pen. It was only 2 months. I wasn't even tripping. It was just the county. Buttering your ass up to do some dumbass shit. Oops, I just liked the video by accident. But so what? Well, anyway, I'm off on the tangent. Fact is, I'm not critiquing. I ain't perfect. I ain't never perfect. Far from perfect. Y'all can tell me about myself. But the suckers who don't, I don't respect. Because I can't see that shit. You got to say, Smash, you be doing this in order for me to consider it. If you not, you definitely not a real friend. I be hating them motherfuckers. I don't like a yes man. If I'm with you, we hanging out, and you got too many yes, after about the 5th yep, I'm already in my head like, this nigga gonna say yeah to everything I fucking say. Then I'm gonna start throwing out other shit to see if you a true sucker. Like, yeah, man, that one time this. And you said, yep, man, get up my shit. What you about to do, bruh? You a fucking yes man. You gonna get me in trouble. My man said I'm tripping, but I'm telling the truth. Nah, this youngsters need to hear this, bruh. Them people who just agree with you when you wrong and you even questioning, you trying to get some guidance. And they just gonna agree with you? Nah, B. Don't let that happen. Now, if you an ego narcissistic who need to feel all right all the time, then surround yourself with yes men. But I respect y'all who say, Smash, you tripping. You see how quick I could be like, no, you wrong on that. That give my more respect than the motherfuckers like, yup, If you got all you got to contribute is yep, I ain't got shit from you. Tell your friends the truth. Don't be no buddy clique. And that's why y'all got a problem with me right now. Because the people I love y'all. You think I'm not going to tell you wrong about no studies we doing? That mean you a sucker. You don't like real friends. You 100% wrong. You out of pocket. It looked like you jealous. Shouldn't somebody who love you say that? Or you want all the haters to say it? That's why I'll be sacrificing myself just to keep it a buck. Like, I don't need no personal relationships. I got a family. Like, you know, I got Hyro too. So what else I need? You see what I'm saying? I'm like, I need to go, let me go find some friends because I ain't got no friends. No, solid people. All right, cool. Y'all gonna just be around because that's how it works. You know that solid people, when you notice that you ain't got disrespected by certain people and certain people treat you a certain way. Then you notice other people, you be like, he's supposed to be my friend, but he be saying shit that make me feel a certain way, but don't even directly say it to me. That's that sucker shit. Nope. Don't make nobody feel bad. Anyway, I done talked for a whole nother hour. My man said RTP FTW said that'd be the reader for the show. Shout out to you and I appreciate you. Y'all got to remember all my older brothers, my elders about my age and up. I'm 47. A lot of the stuff I'm saying on these shows don't really be directed to us. We can learn from it too. But I'm showing a lot of our problems we went through to the younger brothers so they can see what we dealt with, so they can say, oh, I'm definitely not following them mistakes. Believe it or not, the viewership spans, and I think some of this shit is more fruitful for the youth of us who can see, okay, we should focus on these things. We can't hate on our own progress. There's nothing fruitful hating out on something that people want to bring prosperity or anything to your people. I mean, you have to ask yourself, what is the fruit of my hate? Like, for instance, if reparations do go through, the fruit of that will be a lot of money to a lot of black people. If you hate no reparations, ask yourself, what is the fruit of that hate? The fruit of that hate is keeping a lot of black people broke. Because nothing else is preserved. It's not like, oh, at least I'm going to get cheaper taxes next year. No. None of that happens. It's all pseudo theory that people use like, well, I don't want to pay, my tax bill going to be hella high after we give reparations. Stop lying. And that's enough talking for me for the day. I done almost did 3 hours. I wish I could have did one of those Zooms, but that would push this video to 4 hours. So in closing, we're going to go back over a few things. Right here, when we was talking about land taken from black people in California in El Dorado County, we pulled up this tombstone from even the U.S. government in 1954 calling the area of El Dorado County, which goes into South Lake Tahoe from the Sacramento area, calling it Negro Hill. So any arguments that wasn't black land is just crazy. Okay, we also discussed the what you should see is the article on the History Channel, the history.com, about the thorny history of reparations in the United States, to see all the other people who got reparations in the United States. And so lastly, I'm going to hit y'all with this and keep it simple. When the slaves were freed, and y'all know this, when the slaves were freed, they were freed with any economic backbone. Meaning, imagine having somebody as a slave for hecka long. They ain't got no money, nothing, no house, nothing. And then you just say, you know what? Today you free. Bye. Go. Kind of like really literally like a dog that you've been feeding, a domesticated dog that you've been feeding, that you just open your gate one day and say, go. What did that create for the nation? Imagine a street. We got to be practical sometimes. Imagine a street in the South that led to a plantation that had 1,000 slaves on it. Do you know, suppose the day that they found out they was free, do you know that's 1,000 homeless people walking down the street? Think about that. So really, in a sense, turning back to your slave master and being like, can I just stay here? As dumb as it sounds. And if you put your feet in the holy slave boots of somebody who really had to do that walk, you're going to start to think that that wasn't even the worst thing to think for them. Because where, you tell me, put it in the gosh darn chat. You see this family? This is one man's family. And they say you free today. So now y'all walking down a street. Where you gonna go? So even they knew that wasn't about to free nobody. Because it wasn't no economic plan towards restitution, towards reparations. So you can't really right an injustice like without fixing it. So where did they go? Because this was a real occurrence. A lot of people stayed on the plantation. And we call them dumb. I say, I ain't like my ancestors. I'd have never stayed on the plantation. But you probably living with a woman who paying everything. See? The same dudes who be like, I ain't stayed on. I'm talking about that voice. If that voice, I ain't stayed. Yep. You live with a woman who paying everything. But you better than this dude right here. Because that voice don't come out of no man who putting on. Even trying for their family at all. We know we got different levels to this. It's people who trying and stay what they want. You totally fine, bro. Don't feel nothing by my words. The target hitting directly who is hitting. I'm not doing that right now. I'm just talking about our community. I'm definitely not like talking to an individual. But that's what that be happening. That's how that happens. Because you don't form that mentality putting on for yourself that harsh. You know what I'm saying? And so they got released, slavery was over. Now you got to have some place for all these kids to sleep. Since this was part of your slave quarters, this house, the harsh slave owner who was mad that slavery just ended, get the hell out of here, throw all your stuff, whatever. I'm not turning it around. I'm not no sucker. We would have went and laid in the bushes, pick some berries, taught my kids how to build and do something. But that ain't everybody. Yeah, you feel me? So now you wrong. Now we really tripping like, dang, nobody got no bread after that. They just got to walk. It was called freedom and we happy. Please. All they got to do was walk somewhere to nowhere because you didn't have nowhere to go. So you start trying to go north to white people and the north wasn't cool. Man, what? George Floyd just got killed in the north. So I'm just saying, don't think if it ain't improved to this day, it ain't improved. It might have been a little bit better. We got different types of people. White people ain't a thing and black people ain't a thing. Therefore, it's some people inside of everything who say that this is an injustice. Particularly the white people who did that was called Quakers. And we got some Irish sympathizers, but they didn't have no power. But it was some Quakers who were considered white, who used to help black people. Why? Because black and white ain't real. These are tribes, ultimately. A Germanic tribe, a British tribe, a French tribe that would fight each other over our nation, over our continent, over Africa. Yes, they would fight each other over who gonna take our stuff the best. Yeah, there were Irish slavers too. There were black slavers too. Because you think black is a thing, you ready to get ripped off. If you think black is something that's going to bring some honesty into the situation, prepare to be ripped off. You get ripped off by a black person, you get ripped off by a Chinese person, white person, and bati. Oh, I'm going to do my business with black people. For real? I'm not going to exclude anyone. How about that? But if you limit who you do business with, then you limit the quality I could expect from your business. Yeah. This is facts. Your business could not even be up to speed with the whole world because you can only get one. You got a small pool of skill, a small skill set because you're politically motivated in economics. So you're not working with nobody but black people. For real? Well, that's how the white people do, but they do it right, bruh. Okay? There's nothing wrong with people hiring their own people. Stop being a punk. Do you think if it's a Mexican restaurant, it should be filled with black people? You think it's a Chinese restaurant, it should be filled with white people? Yes or no? It shouldn't matter. Yes, it should. I hate white Chinese food. Don't taste like no Chinese food. Now I'm just doing a talk show like we on AM radio. This ain't the knowledge show. We just venting. You can see how the average black, I'm not even average. I don't want to take that back away from nobody, but I'm average in the sense of humility. And you can see how the average black man reckons with these thoughts. Taco Bell ass. Exactly. Tex-Mex. There you go. You got it. White Mexican food. It's called Tex-Mex. Putting all kind of lettuce and tomatoes on my taco. So you want to go to a fine, exquisite Japanese restaurant and you walk in there and see all Indian people. If I go to an Italian restaurant, it better be some white people. You think I'm going to go to an Italian restaurant and want to see some black people? I don't care how your life works, how you think so politically correct. I don't want to go in the Italian restaurant and see no Chinese people. I'm going to get ready to leave. I can see the people eating. You can work there, but I need to know this is really Italian. Yeah, they do that too. I'm in Cali. I be walking out them restaurants. Soul food. You walk in there and it's Sarah. Soul food. And then you eat it and everything you think, your suspicions are confirmed. Yeah, so don't be mad at nobody. That's what I'm saying. The world monetizes their own culture. But I ain't never walked into a restaurant and a sign said white owned. Because That is so inappropriate in this society. But I walked into restaurants that say black owned. Because we tripping. I don't care if you mad at me. Trust me, you tripping. Take the shit out your window and just be a business. So if you walking down the street and you look to the sign and you see a sign and it say white owned in the window of the business, then you're gonna start calling the news. But then I walk down the street and I see a business that got black owned in the business. You ain't even gonna see Mexican owned. Because people ain't dumb. Just put up a flag and shut up. If you really hard, slap up that red, black, and green flag on your business. We know what it is. Yeah, now, Jolanda, there you go. Because you're going to look back into the kitchen, right, and you're going to see the cooks is Mexican or something anyway. But what I need to know is that they doing an official Italian recipe tied to some official Italian cooks. Like, you know how that do, anybody could be anywhere. But everybody know I'm just saying stuff that people don't like saying out loud. You go to a Chinese restaurant, you see all black people. If your brain didn't notice it, you tripping. I'm going to be like, where the hell is Chun-Li? Or somebody who know how this supposed to go. Yeah, whites only sign. Man, we'd be crying. Now, I hope my people ain't mad at me saying, nah, I ain't against it, but let's just talk about it. The black owned sign came out of the Watts riots. People put those signs in their windows to show rioters not to burn down their building. I support all black business, bruh, first. But now if the quality of your stuff ain't equal to the quality of somebody's stuff, that's your fault. Not about to buy something marked up from you because it's at a detriment to myself. We could do fair business because we are all still poverty stricken. So let's keep it a buck. Yeah. Shoot. And so what's the matter with that? I think we just be too soft. Shoot. It is places where you want to see more white people. Like if I go to play crochet, I don't want to learn from nobody in the hood. If I go play crochet, somebody need to have on them high polo pants and have an English accent. You want to learn how to rap? You could go ahead and learn from an Arab person. Go ahead. You could go learn how to rap and be from the Puerto Ricans. Fat Joe could show you. But we got to keep it a buck. People have their places. My ultimate point for anyone who doesn't enjoy a little bit of humor or just straight harsh reality is, dog, stuff have its place in the world. People be different and face it. We all got different cultures and it's all something to learn from different people.
Well, tonight, the city of Palm Springs.
I never let this video finish when they were talking about the atrocities done to the people of Palm Springs, which is now one of the biggest destination locations for California. They burnt down their downtown businesses.
Is the lead counsel for Section 14's survivors and descendants.
These families were denied that opportunity. They were denied the opportunity to purchase homes, to build that equity, and then to pass that equity down to subsequent generations. That is how we build generational wealth.
The city formally apologized in September 2021.
We cannot erase our role in what happened.
But the survivors say that conversations have now stalled. In a statement to News Channel 3, City Attorney Jeff Ballinger says he hopes to continue to focus the city's resources on making amends rather than on unnecessary litigation.
We want the city to re-engage. We want them to come back to the table, and then we want to sit down and talk about a legal and a funding framework to address the substantial losses that these families have suffered.
Pushing back to pay out the city's wrongs and make right with those affected. Jake Ingracia, News Channel 3, Palm Springs.
So let's now take an...
I mean, around this nation, all of you activists, all of you writers, it don't matter what you write for, get active. All of these issues that we know happen in your cities of unaddressed injustices, pick up your pen and get doing what people doing. Because the demand is there and the energy is there when you talk about the issue. Everybody know these are unaddressed issues. When is somebody going to start writing about the bombing of Philadelphia and stuff? Like, for real. Why ain't nobody picking up the pen to put these things before people in order to do what's happening now?
In-depth look at some of the history of Section 14 and why the removal of residents there happened. Section 14 refers to a 1 square mile area of land owned by members of the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians. Historians from the Smithsonian's National Museum of the American Indians say that during the 1940s and 50s, the city of Palm Springs set its sights on that valuable piece of property next to the growing downtown. Once President Eisenhower signed the 1959 Indian Leasing Act into law, the tribal landholders were then allowed to lease it for up to 99 years. Historians say the city used zoning and building codes.
Now, we looked earlier and saying that they was leasing Palm Springs land for 99 years, and the one grant we looked at was for $1. A mile. This is a mile of land. Do you know how many businesses you could get in a mile of land in Palm Springs?
Say the city.
Think of a mile of hotels.
Use zoning and building codes as their reasons for evicting residents from Section 14.
Now, within the last year, Palm Springs removed a statue of former Mayor Frank Bogart in front of City Hall. Supporters of Bogart's did fight for the statue to stay, while others called for its removal for his role in the evictions in Section 14. And you can find all of our reporting on that
all right,
story
cool. Yeah, so thank y'all for tapping in. Thank y'all for tuning in. And ultimately, y'all got a lot of my personal rhetoric today. I normally just try to hit y'all with facts, but when discussing issues like reparations, which are dear to us, it's almost like you're arguing in a courtroom to make a case. And so eventually you find yourself arguing the case of reparations. And so, you know, hopefully it was enjoyable. Shout out to my supporters and the people who joined the channel. I appreciate y'all. What I do ask is I'm not trying to change nobody's point of view on reparations. But when you see stuff like this move from Negro Hill and then you go try to book a flight to Tahoe and to go to a ski resort and you see that they hitting you for $1,000 and that money's going to somebody's family and it's not yours and it had no chance of being yours because of these atrocities that were performed in these areas. Like, let's just keep it a buck. Go right to, come on, we're going to do it right now, Airbnb, just to make things more practical. And my Airbnb ratings are so pristine, by the way. Everybody be like, man, they left this house in wonderful condition. We're about to go, if you ain't one of them people, then step your game up. Y'all got to clean up the Airbnb, family. Let me see, where, so we're going to put Tahoe, just to get a South Lake Tahoe, to even be fair, just to see how this thievery, the benefit and the profits of this thievery is all the way down to Airbnb, bruh. Like, what do you mean? I mean that if you still have property up in this area, then you might have a chance at even being some of these people making these rentals. I'm not just going crazy. This is real. A lot of these are investment properties for people who don't really live in them. Right? And so I just want to go look at a cabin in Tahoe, the whole cabin. I'm just doing it. $238 a night. I see $90 a night. I mean, why not look at things practically? All of these is about $200 a night. You got some 700s a night, 600 a night, $450 a night. This is all Negro Hill. Each one of these houses potentially is a different family that benefited off of them getting the black people up out of there and doing what they did. And you could go read about the wars and the fights on Negro Hill. Boy, it's get good because they was fighting, but eventually got overwhelmed. So they had to cut. Now we in Oakland and stuff. Man, if you can't see this, is crazy. So this is why all this is Snow White and ain't no black people to be found in Tahoe, because y'all stole that shit. Y'all didn't? All right, well, in 1844, Mexico still owned California. How did y'all get Mexico? How did y'all get California from the Mexicans? Smashing on them. Hey, Reggie, shout out to you. Hopefully you go live, and I had to give you some shout out for your Black City plan because people don't understand. As I pointed out, one of the writers of this, who contributed to this movement for reparations was Ta-Nehisi Coates. And they don't even understand what he's saying to us in so many words. The Nubian. And cats be like, what is you gonna get from studying Kemet? But obviously somebody in his family studied Kemet, and the fruits that he bore was a reparation plan. Here we see Ta-Nehisi Coates. Was a reparation plan. Now, if we start to pile things like Reggie's Black City plan on top of things like this, like, yo, just give us some land. Because we know that they had land grants and they could do this. Give us some land and give us the funding to get the sewer system, the water septic system, and the power. We'll take care of everything else. No, we won't. Give us some construction loans too. Government construction loans. We got to stop twiddling our thumbs. I'm streaming. I want to keep going, but I don't want to keep going on my own page because it's too much responsibility. I would like to go get in my car and drive around and handle a few things. Yeah, his father named him, definitely. I know, that's what I meant. And so it still shows that that's the fruit of his father knowing what Ta-Nehisi was and setting that young man with the knowledge into the world to where he now has spearheaded one of the campaigns for reparations for black people in America. And so we need to contribute and not hate. And I guess with that being said, I'm going to get ready to wind it down because I could talk forever. All right. But I'm going to be go live, Reggie, or somebody else. I'm going to get ready to close this down. Thank y'all for tapping in. Thank y'all for watching. I hope nothing in this video was taken negatively or pejoratively towards any of the people I'm talking about when we just having some real talk and keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? I don't want, like I said, don't let me come in your soul food restaurant and the kitchen just full of Mexican people. Unless Big Mama sitting her butt up front and I know it's good and she just getting some help, then it's cool. She can't be found, then I ain't messing with y'all. I need to see some black people in the black restaurant, white people in the white restaurant. And then you can sprinkle in a few of the others just to show me you cool and we good. That's life. Don't be like, just because you losing and it ain't working for you, that you got to complain about the way people naturally do things. Make it work. Make it pop. And with that being said, love, love, love to anybody supporting my channel. Take care. Peace, peace, peace. Thanks for the contributions. Thanks for the cash apps. If y'all look right in the chat, you'll see a link to take you how to buy, how to buy something tangible if you want to support with like a t-shirt or whatever. All right. But ain't no